Chapter 2908. Qin Chu didn't know that this was Huo Yinyan's doing, because the person he had been guarding against was actually Huo Xiqian. After the clothes were burned, there were some abnormal colors in the ashes. Those were the symptoms of toxins that could be identified with one glance after studying medicine for many years. Qin Chu's face was gloomy as he returned to the changing room. "President Qin, please sit down. I'll get you a glass of water and wait for the deputy director to come out, okay?" The nurse was very attentive. "No, I'll go in and find her." Then, without waiting for the nurse to say anything, Qin Chu took out his disinfected clothes and put them on. Then he walked in. "President Qin, you can't go in. You're not a member of the hospital. You can't go in." No matter what the nurse said, Qin Chu wouldn't listen. Instead, he insisted on going in to accompany Huomin. Right now, he didn't want to be out of sight of Huomin for even a second, even if it was an operation. "Help me wipe my sweat." Huomin hadn't done such a difficult operation in a long time, so he was a bit nervous. Beads of sweat began to form on his forehead after she finished speaking. A pair of big hands came over with a disinfectant handkerchief and gently wiped his forehead. He hadn't looked at it carefully, but why did it smell so familiar? Huomin curiously turned his head, and then he was dumbfounded. "Honey, why are you here?" Huomin almost thought that he was sleepwalking. "I'm watching you. I'm afraid you'll be kidnapped." Mr. Qin joked with a serious face. Honey, stop joking." Huomin almost burst out laughing, but this wasn't the right place to joke. "How is it? How far are you?" Qin Chu asked. "I just cut open the heart and saw the heart inside. I think we have to remove all the necrotic parts and then use machinery to support it." Huomin said. "Go sit over there." Qin Chu said. "Huh." Huomin was a bit confused. "Let me do it." Before Huomin could react, Qin Chu snatched the scalpel from her hand. "Hey, honey, this is a heart surgery, not a brain surgery. Can you do it?" Huomin was a little worried. "Don't worry, I won't lose to you," Mr. Qin said proudly. Huomin. Qin Chu's intrusion was indeed against the hospital's rules, and he even stole Huomin's surgery. However, Huomin's heart was bursting with happiness. She knew that everything Mr. Qin did was for her. "Deputy Director, please have some water." The assistant nurse handed him a glass of water. "Well, leave it here first. I'm not very thirsty." Huomin took the water, but did not drink it. It wasn't that she was too paranoid. It was just that she was on high alert during this critical period. She wouldn't casually drink or eat outside food. After all, she really didn't know who had been bribed. The surgery was supposed to take more than 3 hours, but it ended in less than an hour and a half. Qin Chu had to be extremely focused, so he was a bit tired. After getting off the operating table, everyone let out a sigh of relief. "Deputy Director, the patient's vitals are normal. The surgery was a success." The assistant nurse's voice was a little excited. "Okay, send him to the ICU. Thank you for your hard work." Huomin smiled. "Not at all. Deputy Director, thank you for your hard work. Your husband worked even harder." The nurses smiled enviously. "Deputy Director, your husband's medical skills are amazing." The chief surgeon praised Qin Chu. It was his first time seeing him perform surgery. "My husband, studying medicine is just a hobby." Don't praise him too much," Huomin said modestly. Qin Chu put his arm around Huomin's shoulder and walked out of the operating room to the changing room. Where are my clothes?" Huomin opened the wardrobe and was slightly surprised. "I burned them," he said. "What?" Huomin thought she heard wrong and asked Mr. Qin again. Chapter 2909. "I burned it," Mr. Qin repeated patiently. "Why did you burn it? If you don't like it, just tell me. I'll get another one. I can give this one to my mom, I'll talk to you when we get out." Qin Chu didn't want people to talk, so he didn't say much. He took out his jacket and wrapped it around Huomin. Then, he put his arm around her shoulders and left the hospital. The vice director's husband loves her so much. Yeah, he cares about her so much. But now he even wants to help with the surgery. Oh my God, I'm so jealous. The nurses gossiped after Huomin, and Qin Chu left. "Honey, where's your car?" Huomin looked around but didn't see Qin Chu's car. I left it downtown. Let's take the family car. Then, Chin Chu held Huamin's hand and got into the RV. Can you tell me what happened now? Why are you burning the clothes all of a sudden? Mian, someone did something to your clothes. Huh? By who? Huamin froze. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if it was Wasiqian's men. I'm still investigating. What did they do? You finally burned my clothes. Someone must have poisoned it. I was wearing this when I left home. How could someone have poisoned it? Wait, could it be the nurse on duty in the changing room? Huamin realized. I don't think so. If it was her, she wouldn't have waited there to be investigated. Chinchu recalled. You're right, but where did you get this information? I thought it wasn't safe for you to come to the hospital alone. I was afraid it was a trap, so I came to take a look. When I arrived, I received a message from Aching. He was very concise, so I didn't have time to ask. So that's how it is. Looks like I almost fell for it again. Huamin leaned his head on Chin Chu's shoulder with lingering fear. It's fine. Don't worry, I'm here. Honey, am I a coward? You always have to protect me. Huamin felt a little guilty. No, my wife is very powerful. Didn't she take the blame for murder for me before? Chin Chu laughed. Not again. Huamin rolled his eyes. Don't always think that you're useless and give me trouble. You're a human, not a god. If you're not afraid of anything and can solve any problem by yourself, then what's the use of me as your husband? Am I just for show? Mr. Chin rarely said so many words at once. Huamin was pleasantly surprised. No, you're going to give birth to babies. Huamin teased. Chin Chu was speechless. Ha ha ha. Don't look at me with such a straight face. It's so awkward. On the way back, the couple flirted with each other. Although it was a close call, the good thing was that Huamin was fine. On the other side of the road to the airport, before Hu Yanyan's taxi could get onto the highway, it was forced to stop by a few black commercial cars. Then, a dozen men in black got out of the cars and smashed Hu Yanyan's taxi. The taxi driver was so scared that he almost fainted. Hu Yanyan and the babies were also scared out of their wits. Tian was so scared that she started crying. Take her away, one of the men roared. The men pulled Hu Yanyan's hair and dragged her out. Where are the babies? Take them all away. Who are you? What do you want? Let me go. I'm calling the police. Hu Yanyan took out her phone, but before she could dial 110, someone grabbed it and threw it to the ground. Then, he slapped Hu Yanyan so hard that she felt dizzy. Tape their mouths. They're so noisy, the man said. Chapter 29:10. Just like that, Hu Yanyan and her daughter were kidnapped on their way to the airport. In a small, run-down house in the southern mountains, there was a dim light. After Hu Yanyan and her daughter were brought in, they were immediately stuffed into a small, enclosed room. The walls were covered in moss, just like in a horror movie. Because her mouth was taped shut, she couldn't say anything even if she wanted to. Hu Yanyan looked at her daughter worriedly. She could only whimper but couldn't say a single word. Not long after, a man came in and dragged Hu Yanyan out by her hair. After he dragged her out, he pushed her onto the cold ground. Hu Yanyan lost her balance and fell to the ground. She looked extremely pathetic. What a coincidence, we meet again. Hearing the familiar voice, Hu Yanyan raised her head and looked at the demon-like face in horror. With a bloodthirsty smile, who else could it be but Wasiqian? What? You haven't seen your family in a long time. Shouldn't you be surprised to see me? Wasiqian continued to smile. On the other hand, Hu Yanyan was so scared that she didn't even dare to breathe. She always knew that Wasiqian was a person who would do anything. He had no bottom line at all. Take away her tape. It's not fun to play with her like this, Wasiqian said. Yes, boss. After that, one of Wasiqian's subordinates came in with a wooden chair behind Wasiqian. He slowly sat down opposite Hu Yanyan and slowly lit a cigarette. Wasiqian, what are you trying to do? Hu Yanyan questioned Wasiqian with a trembling voice the moment the tape was removed. What am I trying to do? Haha, you're wrong. I should be the one asking you what you've been up to. Wasiqian laughed coldly. Hu Yanyan's heart skipped a beat. She could roughly guess the meaning behind Huasiqian's words. You want to run? S-City. New Town on Water District. Block 8, Unit 6, 806. Huasiqian repeated the address. Hui Yanyan opened her mouth wide in shock, speechless. Are you wondering how I know? It's simple. Your best friend betrayed you easily, Huasiqian said calmly. Hui Yanyan felt a chill in her heart. Then she began to feel scared. She had thought that she would be able to live in peace for a while after leaving this place. But now, it seemed like she was completely wrong. Huasiqian knew her new address in S-City. How terrifying was that? I don't understand. What did Mian do to make you hate her so much? How could you do such a thing to her? Ha, so it's all because of Huamin. I knew it. How could a nobody like me attract your attention? Huasiqian, don't you think you're disgusting? Huamin is from the Wu family, just like us. Even if you're adopted, you're still his sister in name. Aren't you afraid that people will call you a pervert for liking your sister in name? Hui Yanyan smiled viciously. Pervert? I've always been a pervert. Huasiqian laughed. It seems like you're trying to get justice for Huamin today. You're the best spare tire in China. Even her husband isn't as active as you. Huasiqian, don't you think you're cheap? Hui Yanyan's words were filled with sarcasm and insult. As soon as she finished speaking, Aching slapped Hui Yanyan again. The corner of Hui Yanyan's mouth split open, and blood slowly trickled out. Chapter 29:11. Bitch, watch your mouth, or I'll break it, Aching said angrily. Aching, don't be impulsive. We have to be gentle with women. Huasiqian was still very calm, however. The calmer he was, the more unsure Hui Yanyan became. Huasiqian, stop pretending. We've been enemies since we were kids, and my mom and brother didn't treat you well either. Now that you've become so powerful, I have nothing to say if you want to take revenge on us. Do whatever you want, and don't waste your time talking nonsense. Wow, a chaste woman. Hui Yanyan, did you watch too many anti-Japanese dramas? Do you think your Mao Zedong or something? Hui Yanyan waited for Huasiqian, but didn't say anything. Let's not talk nonsense. Let me show you something fun. Bring her in. Huasiqian ordered, and his subordinates immediately brought in a woman with a black cloth over her head. After Huasiqian's subordinates removed the black cloth from the woman's head, Hui Yanyan panicked again. Big sister Yanyan, save me. It turned out that this was the little nurse who put something in Huamin's clothes. She was the little spy that Hui Yanyan planted at Southside. Save you? She can't even save herself right now. How can she save you? Huasiqian stood up and reached out his index finger to gently lift the little nurse's chin. Hui Yanyan didn't say anything. After all, they had a mutually beneficial relationship. TSK, you're such a pretty girl, but you're so evil. For a few thousand yuan, you're so shameless that you want to frame your boss. You're the worst, Huasiqian said slowly. It wasn't me. It was Hui Yanyan who asked me to do it. She ordered me to do it. The young nurse acted according to the situation. Seeing that things were not going well, she immediately pointed out that it was Hui Yanyan's fault. If she asked you to do it, you will do it. If she asked you to die, will you go? The nurse was so scared that she didn't dare to say anything. Little girl, do you know what Hui Yanyan asked you to put in Huamin's clothes? Huasiqian asked with a smile. The nurse shook her head in fear. She didn't know what it was exactly, but she knew that it was something that could kill people. Otherwise, Hui Yanyan would not have gone through so much trouble to find a patient with a heart condition to lure Huamin into the trap, nor would she have bribed so many spies to set up such a big trap. Very good. If you don't know what it is, how dare you put it in my sister Mian's clothes? You're fucking good. Huasiqian suddenly tightened his grip on the nurse's chin. He used so much force that he almost broke her bones. Big brother, it's not my fault. It's Hui Yanyan's fault. Go find her. I was used to. The nurse pushed all the blame away. Don't worry. I'll show you the good stuff. You'll like it. After speaking, Huasiqian waved his hand. The two men immediately grabbed the nurse's shoulders and stopped her from moving. The other man immediately brought out a small black jar. The moment they saw the black jar, Hui Yanyan's expression changed drastically. The nurse was even more terrified. Why are you guys looking like that? You guys should be happy. After all, you guys chose this, and it passed through your hands. Wasichyan smiled. No. I beg you, let me go. No. The nurse seemed to know what she was about to face. She was so scared that her face turned pale as she begged for mercy. Huyenyan's face was even paler. She didn't know what other crazy things Wasichyan would do. Chapter 29:12. Didn't your big sister Yanyan tell you what's inside? Wasichyan pointed at the black jar and asked the nurse. No, she didn't say. The nurse stuttered, scared out of her wits. Oh, that's okay. I'll open your eyes. Then, Wasichyan carefully opened the black jar and took the tweezers from his subordinate. He reached his hand into the jar and took out a black furry object. Everyone in the room gasped when they saw what it was. It was a black spider the size of a quail egg. Its entire body was black, and upon closer inspection, there were tiny gray dots all over its body. Just looking at it was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Mutant Black Widow. Not bad. Where'd you find this? Wasichyan held the black spider and approached Huyenyan. Then, when Wasichyan held the spider, its claws were still moving around, making everyone dizzy. Huyenyan felt all the hair on her body stand on end. You really want to kill my little sister? You're so evil. Compared to your mother, you're even better, Wasichyan exclaimed. Cut the crap, since you caught me. I didn't think I'd get out of here alive. Huyenyan knew that Wasichyan wouldn't let her go, especially after he found out about her perverted love for Huamin. Now that her plan was exposed, Wasichyan definitely wouldn't let her go. Don't worry, the night is still young. We have to play slowly. Then, Wasichyan turned around and walked up to the nurse. You and this thing are fated. Come, have a taste. Then, Wasichyan released the tweezers, and the spider immediately crawled into the nurse's collar. Ah! Help! Help! The nurse immediately screamed at the top of her lungs. She didn't know if it was because of fear, psychological fear, or because of the pain after being bitten by the spider. That shrill cry shook everyone in the room. Other than Wasichyan, everyone was afraid. 1 minute later, the nurse collapsed to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Her face had turned purple. The Black Widow venomous spider had probably bitten enough. It lazily crawled out of the nurse's clothes. Wasichyan's subordinates were so frightened that they quickly retreated, afraid that they would be bitten. The young nurse convulsed for about 3 minutes. In the end, her legs gave way, and she stopped breathing. Wasichyan raised his wrist and looked at his watch. He smiled and said, Not bad. You hung up in 3 minutes. It seems that your watch is a treasure. At this moment, the black spider crawled towards Wasichyan's feet. Boss, be careful, Aching reminded. Wasichyan didn't even look. He pulled out a black handgun from behind his waist and shot at the black spider. With a loud bang, everyone was so scared that they couldn't help but tremble. They looked at the black spider and saw that it was already motionless. It was almost shot into pieces. I should let you have a taste of your own medicine. But dying in 3 minutes is so boring, don't you think so? Wasichyan looked at Huyenyan and asked, word for word, What do you want? Huyenyan had a bad feeling. You know that I've always loved Mian. What do you think I'll do to you if you treat her like this? Wasichyan asked with a smile. Huyenyan looked at Wasichyan's hellish smile and suddenly felt that this might be the most desperate moment of her life. Wasichyan, Huamin, what's so good about her? Why do you all love her so much? I don't understand. Huyenyan felt that she was about to die, so she asked the question that had been in her heart for years, even though it sounded ridiculous at the moment. Chapter 29:13. Before Wasichyan could respond, Huyenyan yelled again. Also, don't think that you're so noble. Wasichyan, we're all the same. We're all bad guys, aren't we? Yeah, you're right. I'm a bad guy. Wasichyan nodded and admitted. But so what? Who said that bad guys can't like good girls? Huh? Wasichyan asked back. Mian, she's not a kind person. She's even a little cold and arrogant, but I like her, because she's always been like that since she was a little girl. She won't change because of anyone, anything, or any environment. It's hard to live with a clear understanding of the world. Many people lose themselves in the process. But Mian, she's always known what she wants, what she likes, and what kind of person she is. No matter what other people say, whether they praise her or criticize her, to her, it's all the same. Her indifferent eyes have made me fall in love with her for the rest of my life. Wasichien rarely opened up to Hu Yanyan about these things, because in his eyes, Hu Yanyan was an idiot who didn't know right from wrong. But today, the atmosphere was different. Hu Yanyan asked, and Wasichien answered. Huh, is she really as good as you say? Hu Yanyan sneered. Don't you know? You shouldn't be asking this, right? Don't you know how much Mian has done for you? Wasichien asked. Hu Yanyan was slightly surprised. Do you think that if Mian hadn't been secretly helping you and protecting you and your mother over the past few years, I would have let you live until now? Are you kidding me? I don't like to cut weeds without removing the roots. You're not so naive as to think that Shen Mingxi was the one who protected you, are you? Hu Yanyan, how many times did Mian sneak into the kindergarten to see your daughter? She bought her food, clothes, and even asked the teachers to take good care of her. Seeing how much she liked your daughter, I decided to let you go since you're no longer a threat. It's not worth it to offend Mian because of you, but I didn't think that not only do you not know how to be grateful, you even hate her. Is it because they killed my mom? Hu Yanyan asked self-righteously. If Huomin's mother kidnapped your daughter and even tried to kill her, would you still be magnanimous enough to forgive her? Wasichien asked. Hu Yanyan, don't be so cruel. Don't always think that you're right and the whole world is wrong. Even a stubborn person like me isn't as cruel as you are. Hu Yanyan is actually very innocent. She even believed that you could change for the better and live a normal life. Unfortunately, you really disappointed her. How could you be so vicious as to buy mutated poisonous spiders to set her up? Hu Yanyan, have you learned your lesson? They say that dough of rice feeds a debt of gratitude, but it's true that you've become her enemy. Look at yourself now. All you've heard are the people who helped you, whether it's Mian or Shen Mingxi. You're not worthy of their kindness, but you're willing to trust people who can easily betray you. It's touching that you're still alive with your IQ. I'm just too lazy. If I had ended you earlier, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. You almost caused Mian to be bitten by poisonous spiders. Cut the crap, just shoot. Hu Yanyan felt that no matter what she said, there was no hope for her to live. You've got some backbone. What? You don't want to take care of your daughter anymore? Wasichien snorted coldly. Wasichien, don't hurt my daughter. Take it out on me. Wasichien, don't touch my daughter. Hu Yanyan became agitated, remembering her daughter, who was captured with her. Chapter 29:14. So that's why you're so obedient? Wasichien asked. What would he want? To be honest, Hu Yanyan wasn't sure what Wasichien was going to do. She didn't know what he was going to do, so she was scared. Don't worry, I won't let you die. It's not time for you to die yet. Wasichien chuckled. Hu Yanyan bit her lips and refused to speak. If you do as I say, maybe I'll find my conscience and let your daughter live. Otherwise, I'll let you watch as she sinks into the ocean with a rock tied to her. Wasichien, you're a fucking animal. Upon hearing Wasichien's words, Hu Yanyan almost jumped up in anger and cursed at Wasichien. A fucking animal? Haha, I'm one. I've always been one. Wasichien's self-deprecating style was unstoppable. According to seniority, Tian should call you uncle. How could you have the heart to hurt a 5- or 6-year-old child? Are you even human? Hu Yanyan cried and cursed at Wasichien. However, the more she cursed, the more despair she felt. She knew that Wasichien wasn't Huomin. He didn't have any morals. Uncle? Humph. You sure know how to flatter yourself. Who do you think you are to claim kinship with me? After laughing coldly, Wasichien waved his hand, and his subordinates immediately brought the little girl out. The moment the tape was removed from her mouth, the child was so scared that she started crying. Mommy, I'm scared. It was instinctive for a child to be scared. Upon seeing her daughter's pitiful state, Hu Yanyan's heart ached even more. Wasichien, if you dare to touch my daughter, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Hu Yanyan screamed. I wasn't even afraid of you when you were alive. Why would I be afraid when you're dead? How about this? If you don't resist and give me a recording, I'll let your daughter go. What do you want to do to me? Hui Yanyan felt that Huasiqian was on the verge of breaking down because he refused to say anything. You guys, take the things out. After Huasiqian finished speaking, the men behind him turned around and returned to the black car parked outside Huasiqian. Huasiqian took out a long brocade box and slowly opened it. Inside was a thin syringe. It was like a child getting vaccinated. Inside was a white, transparent liquid. Hui Yanyan seemed to know what would happen to her. She was so scared that she couldn't speak. Don't worry, I won't let you die. This is good stuff. One syringe costs more than 100,000 yuan. It would be a waste to give it to you. After speaking, Huasiqian slowly walked towards Hui Yanyan with the syringe in his hand. No, don't come over. Hui Yanyan struggled with all her might. She was very resistant to this unknown substance. Based on her understanding of Huasiqian, this was definitely a perverted thing. It couldn't be a simple drug. Don't come over. Don't touch me. After I'm done with the syringe, I'll start recording. Say to me, Qin Chu, please let me go. I won't dare to do it again. Qin Chu. Hui Yanyan's eyes widened. She finally understood Huasiqian's little trick. What he wanted to do was to set her up and then frame Qin Chu. Don't worry, you won't die. In fact, you'll be very happy. Trust me. After speaking, Huasiqian suddenly injected the syringe into Hui Yanyan's shoulder. The unknown liquid slowly flowed into her body. Hui Yanyan felt her mind go blank. I'll start recording in 5 seconds. If you don't do as I say, then your daughter will feed the baby to the fish, Huasiqian said slowly. Chapter 29:15. Hui Yanyan's face was filled with pain, and she struggled for a while. With a beep, the recording started. She opened her eyes and looked at Huasiqian. She said with determination, Qin Chu, you did this to me. I won't forgive you even if I become a ghost. Huasiqian took out his phone and recorded the scene with a sinister smile on his face. Then, Hui Yanyan felt dizzy and fell to the ground. Mommy. Mommy, what's wrong? Mommy, wake up. Little Tiantian rushed over, but was stopped by a man. Boss, I think the drug is taking effect. Aching said. Yeah, take her to the busiest street and leave her there. What about the kid? Aching asked. Tie her to a rock and throw her into the sea. Huasiqian said. After Huasiqian said this, the men fell silent. What's with that expression? Are you crying at a funeral? Huasiqian stared at Aching. Boss, Hui Yanyan deserved it, but the kid is innocent. Ever since Aching adopted the kid, he cared about kids like her, especially those who didn't come from a good family and didn't have parents by their side. Aching, we're not philanthropists, we're bad guys. We were bad guys in the past, in the present, and in the future. This is the path we have to take, Huasiqian said. Aching didn't say anything after hearing this, but he didn't dare to refute his boss. He knew Huasiqian's temper. Sit down and make sure everything is clean. I hope this is the end of Hui Yanyan's matter. The relationship between Qin Chu and I has officially begun. After saying this, Huasiqian threw the cigarette but on the ground, stepped on it, and turned to leave. Big brother Aching, if you can't do it, we'll do it for you. Seeing Aching's conflicted expression, the men tried to persuade him. It's okay. You guys take Hui Yanyan to the city center. I'll take care of things here. All right. After that, the unconscious Hui Yanyan was taken into a van and driven towards the city center. Aching drove the little girl towards the seaside. Qinchin's hands and feet were tied, and her mouth was taped shut again, but the sound of the sobbing was very obvious. Aching saw the tears on the child's face from the rearview mirror. His eyes were filled with despair. After getting out of the car, Aching carried the child out and tore off the tape. Little Tiantian knelt down in front of Aching. Uncle, please save my mother. After hearing this, Aching was shocked. He thought that the child would say, Uncle, please don't kill me. However, he did not expect that the child was worried about his mother. This touched him even more. Uncle, I beg you. My mother hasn't had it easy these past few years. My father is a bastard. He didn't care about us since we were young. My mother is also very pitiful. I don't want her to die. She won't die. After a long while, Ah-Ching squeezed out these words. What about me? Ah-Ching was silent. I heard what that big bad guy said. He told you to throw me into the sea. Ah-Ching was still silent. Uncle, I'm really afraid of water. I choke when I swim. Don't throw me into the sea. If you want to kill me, just stab me. I heard that if you lose a lot of blood, you'll die very quickly. The child's words were like knives stabbing into Ah-Ching's heart. Before, he didn't feel anything for Wasichien, but after betraying him and standing on Chin-Chu's side, he suddenly felt that he was such a bastard. Uncle, just do it. Don't kill my mother. If you have the chance, tell her that Tian loves her. I don't blame her. The little girl's voice was very tender. Her eyes were also very pure. Tian was not as smart as the twins. She was just an ordinary child. Oh, and my Uncle Shun. I love him too, Tian added. At this time, Ah-Ching slowly pulled out a gun from his waist. His face was filled with inexplicable sadness. Chapter 29:16. Ah-Ching aimed his gun at Tian. Then there was a loud bang. The little girl fell to the ground not far away. Wasichien's other henchman watched from afar, and then turned to leave. Seeing the figure walk away, Ah-Ching helped the child up from the ground. Run along this road by the sea, and don't look back. When you reach a place with light, remember to ask the police to take you to Huamin. No, you can't go to him. Our boss has been watching Miss Watu closely. You should go to Shenmingshi. He's still in the first hospital. Give this to him and don't forget it. Okay. Tian nodded obediently. Hurry up, I have to go too. Ah-Ching patted the child's shoulder. To his surprise, Tian knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to Ah-Ching. Thank you, Uncle. You're a good person. I'm not a good person. I've done a lot of terrible things. Ah-Ching was a little sad. No, you are a good person. When I was listening to the teacher telling us about Snow White, he said that Snow White's stepmother didn't like her because she was prettier than her stepmother. So she sent a hunter to kill her. However, the hunter couldn't bear to do so. So he killed a deer and went back to report on his mission. He let Snow White go and later met the dwarf. I am not Snow White, but Uncle also let me go. Uncle is a very kind hunter. The words of a child were always the simplest and most innocent. Ah-Ching felt very sad when he heard this. Okay, stop talking. Hurry up and go. Remember to find the police, and then Shenmingshi. Ah-Ching reminded her repeatedly, afraid that Tian would go the wrong way and meet the wrong person. After all, the child was too young to protect herself. Okay, I'll go find Uncle Shen. He's at the first hospital. Then Tian turned and ran. Ah-Ching couldn't bear to see her like this. Before he shot, he told Tian to fall to the ground. From afar, it looked like she was really shot to death after all. Wasichien had a lot of people working for him. If he wasn't careful, things could go wrong. Because Tian was young, she ran very slowly. Before she could find Shenmingshi, Huiyanyan's incident broke out in the entire city. It was pretty bad when Chin-Chu's informant reported. Gao Ren also called. Chu, what's going on with Huiyanyan? I'm not sure either. But now everyone is saying that you did it. She kept calling your name. Now the internet is saying that you and I worked together to take revenge on her. Gao Ran was also in a terrible state. It's probably this woman's scheme again. Chin-Chu was exceptionally calm. I've brought Huiyanyan to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. I'll only know the details when the results are out. Gao Ran said. Do you need me to go? Chin-Chu asked. There's no need for that. You're in the eye of the storm now. You can't come to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. You'll be caught red-handed and even worse. All right. Chin-Chu hung up the phone. His expression didn't look too good. Honey, what happened? Huamin could tell how serious the situation was from Chin-Chu's expression. Something happened with Huiyanyan. Is that really Huiyanyan? I just saw that video on WeChat. The figure was blurry. I thought someone was using it to create hype. Huamin froze. Where's the video? Let me see it. Chin-Chu didn't seem to think that things would be this serious. Huamin took out his phone, opened the video again, and showed it to Chin Chu. After watching it, his expression became even more serious. Chapter 29:17. It was a video of a mental patient. The woman in the video was disheveled, wearing only her underwear and underwear. She was crying and laughing on the street. There were many onlookers, and many of them were even taking pictures of her. They watched as the woman reached out to take off her underwear. At this point, the video was cut off and ended abruptly. Just by looking at the silhouette, they couldn't be sure that it was Huo Yanyan. However, just now, Gao Ran made the call, and his subordinates told them about it. Chin Chu was basically certain that the person in the video was Huo Yanyan. "Honey, why aren't you saying anything? What's going on?" Hu Min was also very anxious. "This is Huo Yanyan," Chin Chu said. "Huh?" Hu Min was still a little surprised. What's going on? Is she pretending to be crazy?" Hu Min didn't know what Huo Yanyan was up to. "I'm not sure. I have a feeling that there's something strange going on this time. Let's wait for the results from Gao Ran's examination first." Half an hour later, Gao Ran called again. Chin Chu and Hu Min sat in the living room, waiting for the results. "Chu, the results are out." To make it easier for Hu Min to hear, Chin Chu put the call on speaker. "What's the situation?" "There's a drug in Huo Yanyan's body. It's very special. It's even more powerful than poppies. It's probably a mixture of drugs that can cause mental disorder." "What you're saying is that Huo Yanyan took a drug and went crazy on the street, taking off her own clothes?" Hu Min asked. "Something like that. However, there's something very troublesome right now." "What?" Chin Chu raised his eyebrows. At that time, the witnesses all said in unison that the woman kept repeating one sentence, which was, "Chin Chu, you'll die a horrible death for treating me like this. You won't have a good ending. What does it have to do with my husband?" Hu Min was a little angry. She knew that with Chin Chu's personality, he would rather shoot Huo Yanyan to death than feed her drugs. Chin Chu would never do something as despicable as running around naked in front of a prostitute. "He probably wants me to be the scapegoat," Chin Chu guessed in a low voice. "Yeah, that's what I think too. But what I'm not sure about right now is whether Huo Yanyan made you take the blame, or if there's someone else behind the scenes," Gao Ran said. "Could it be Huo? Hu Min immediately thought of Huo. It's hard to say now. The medical staff of the Municipal Public Security Bureau is giving Huo Yanyan an injection. Hopefully, she'll regain her consciousness," Gao Ran said. "What drug? Can I go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau to have a look?" As a doctor, Hu Min was very sensitive to drugs. "No, you can't go out now. Be a good girl and listen to me." Before Gao Ran could refuse, Chin Chu immediately refused. Hu Min was pregnant, and Chin Chu wouldn't let her do anything dangerous. Previously, when Huo Yanyan was attacked by the poisonous spider, although Hu Min wasn't hurt in the end, she was still scared when she thought about it. "What should we do, honey? I feel like we're in a passive position." Hu Min couldn't sit still anymore. On one side was Huo Yanyan, and on the other side was Huo. Were the two mortal enemies working together now? "I'm here. It'll be fine. You go and help Pudding and Little Bean change first. I'll go out and meet Aching." Then, Chin Chu got up and left the house while talking to Gao Ran on the phone. Inside the first hospital, Shen Mingxi's body had almost recovered and he could walk on his own. After Huo Yanyan's video was released, he was restless and couldn't get through to Huo Yanyan's phone. Just then, the door opened. "Young master, there's a child outside who wants to see you. She says her name is Tian Tian," the bodyguard said. "Quick, bring her in." Shen Mingxi was even more excited when he heard it was Tian Tian. Chapter 29:18. When Tian Tian came in, her white floral dress was stained with dirt, and her face was dirty. She looked like a mess. Seeing Shen Mingxi, Tian Tian threw herself at him and hugged his leg. "Uncle Shen." "Boo-hoo. Tian Tian, don't cry. Tell me why you're here. Where's your mom?" Shen Mingxi knew the kid couldn't have come alone at this late hour. Something must have happened. "Uncle Shen, please save my mom. She's about to be killed by the bad guys." The kid was so anxious that she cried as she spoke. Don't cry yet, baby. Take your time. Shin Mingxi scooped Tian up and sat her down on the bed. He wet the towel on the side and wiped the child's face slowly. Are you hungry? Shin Mingxi knew the kid must have been scared out of her wits. I'm not hungry. Then drink some water first. Shin Mingxi poured a glass of warm water for the kid. Tian was really thirsty and drank it all in one gulp. Do you want more? Shin Mingxi asked gently. Give me a little more, Uncle Shun, Tian said timidly. Shin Mingxi poured a little more water for the kid. Then, afraid she would choke, he gently patted her back. After drinking the water, Chin's expression softened. By the way, Uncle Shun, this is for you. The kid came back to her senses and didn't forget what Ah-Ching had given her. What's this? I don't know. The kid shook her head. Who gave it to you? Shin Mingxi asked. It's the big bad guy's accomplice. But he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. The big bad guy told him to throw me into the sea, and he let me go. Tian said intermittently. Shin Mingxi was also puzzled by her words. Okay, I'll take a look first. Shin Mingxi took a small object and looked at it. It was a mini recording device. He pressed the start button and a man's voice came out. It was very simple. Wasiqin wants to deal with Qin Chu. So he used Hui Yanyan to frame Qin Chu, who wanted me to kill the child. But I didn't have the heart to do so. You should hide the child. If she's still alive, I'll be in trouble. It was just a few sentences, but they were very clear. Shin Mingxi immediately understood what he meant. Uncle Shun, Mommy and I were caught by a bad guy. Our hands and feet were tied, and our mouths were sealed. That bad guy gave Mommy medicine and wanted to kill Tian. Tian is very scared. Tian hopes that Uncle Shun can save Mommy. Chin's chubby little hand tugged at Shin Mingxi's sleeve. Shin Mingxi's heart ached when he heard her pleading in a low voice. Although he swore that he would no longer interfere in Hua Yanyan's matters, he still couldn't bear to see the mother and daughter suffer like this. Okay, Uncle will definitely help you save your mother. Don't worry, Tian. Yes, I know that Uncle Shun treats us the best. The little girl finally showed a smile. Shin Mingxi then ordered someone to buy some food for Tian. Then he decided to let Tian stay with him in the hospital for the time being. He couldn't let Wasiqin see her. Tian was frightened and always sleepy. After coaxing her to sleep, Shin Mingxi changed into casual clothes and opened the door. Young master, are you going out? Yes, but Madam said that you're still recovering and can't go out. The two bodyguards were also in a difficult position. I'm going out to do something urgent. I'll be back in a while. You don't have to tell Mom. Then, Shin Mingxi pushed the bodyguards aside and went straight to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. After greeting Gao Ran, Shin Mingxi saw Hui Yanyan in the Municipal Public Security Bureau's interrogation room. She seemed to be a little delirious. She's like this for now. I don't know if she's real or just pretending. Go and take a look, Gao Ran said. Chapter 29:19. When Shin Mingxi walked in, Hui Yanyan was curled up in a corner on the floor. She was wearing men's clothing that didn't fit her at all. The police probably brought it back and put it on her. Her face was facing the corner of the wall, and she was muttering something under her breath. To be honest, even though she treated Shin Mingxi like this, he still felt sad to see her like this. Yan. He hadn't called her that in a long time. Unfortunately, Hui Yanyan didn't respond at all. She was still mumbling something to herself. Shin Mingxi slowly walked over, reached out his hand, and gently placed it on her shoulder. Yan, don't touch me, don't touch me. Go away. Go away. You're the devil. Hui Yanyan reacted violently and looked at the man behind her in horror. Shin Mingxi was startled when she turned her face around. She wasn't the well-dressed Hui Yanyan from before. Even when she was down and out, she didn't look like this when she worked in the mall. Hui Yanyan's face was covered in dirt and lipstick was smeared all over her mouth. She looked very funny. Her hair was sticky. He didn't know if it was water or something else, but it looked very disgusting. Yan, I'm Shin Mingxi. Mingxi. Hui Yanyan's expression changed when she heard Mingxi's name. You, don't you remember me? Shen Mingxi. Hu Yanyan repeated in a low voice. Yes, I'm Shen Mingxi. Shen Mingxi. You're a heartless man. I hate you. Go away. Go away. You and Qin Chu are the same. They directly killed my mother. You're indirectly involved. You can't escape responsibility. Hu Yanyan seemed to become agitated again. Shen Mingxi didn't look angry anymore. He only felt pity and sadness. How did you become like this? What did Huasiqian feed you? Shen Mingxi looked at her sadly. Qin Chu. It was Qin Chu. Qin Chu fed me poison. It was Qin Chu who did this to me. Hu Yanyan didn't know if she was telling the truth or not, but she insisted that it was Qin Chu. Shen Mingxi didn't say anything. He just watched Hu Yanyan go crazy. She cried and laughed. Qian Qian's with me. I'll protect her. You don't have to worry about me. Shen Mingxi whispered to Hu Yanyan. Tian Tian? Who's Tian Tian? Who's Tian Tian? Yes. She didn't even remember her own daughter. Shen Mingxi heaved a long sigh and got up. Qin Chu, don't run. I'm going to kill you. You and Humin deserve to die. Those who hurt my mother and brother deserve to die. Hu Yanyan rushed up like a madwoman. However, 2 policewomen came in and grabbed her shoulders. Give her a sedative, Gao Ran said. Then, a doctor from the Municipal Public Security Bureau came in and immediately injected Hu Yanyan with the sedative. Only then did she go back to sleep. How long has she been like this? Shen Mingxi walked out and asked. When we found her, she was much worse than this. You saw the video that went viral on the internet, right? She was running around naked in the busiest area in the city center. We found drugs in her body. She's not faking it. She's under the influence of drugs. Do you know what drugs they are? Shen Mingxi asked again. We're not sure. Our people are analyzing it. So far, we only found some drugs that control the nerves in the brain and some snake venom that can make people lose their minds. These synthetic drugs are the most troublesome because the antidote is very difficult to make. Huasiqian, that bastard. I'll never let him get away with it. Shen Mingxi clenched his fists tightly. Young Master Shen, if you want to help Hu Yanyan get revenge on Huasiqian, I have an idea, Gao Ran suddenly said. Chapter 29:20. Director Gao, please instruct me. I don't dare to instruct you. It's just my personal opinion. You know that Qin Chu and I are close friends. Of course, I'll think for him. I think you two can work together to deal with Huasiqian. Qin Chu and I. Shen Mingxi was surprised. Yes, but I don't think President Qin needs me. Shen Mingxi knew that Qin Chu was arrogant and powerful. He didn't need his help. Are you stupid? You can do it secretly without telling him. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, Gao Ran said. Yes, this time, I won't let Huasiqian off the hook. But Director Gao Yanyan, we can't let Hu Yanyan out. We plan to detain her for observation and then send her to the neurology department. She'll be a bad influence if she goes out like this. Plus, you know that she doesn't have any family left. Without a guardian, she can't even take care of herself. How can she take care of the child? I'll take care of the child. Okay, that's it. After Shen Mingxi left the bureau, he couldn't suppress his anger. After some thought, he impulsively went to find Huasiqian. It was already midnight. After leaving the bureau, he didn't go straight to the hospital. Instead, he went straight to the Hua mansion. Huasiqian, you bastard, get out here. Shen Mingxi yelled at the Hua mansion. President Shen, I'm sorry. My boss is resting. If you have anything to say, we can talk tomorrow. Tell that bastard to stop hiding. If he's a man, then get out here. Shen Mingxi was as angry as a beast at the thought of Hu Yanyan's condition. Even if he didn't love her anymore, he didn't want to see Hu Yanyan being treated like that. Plus, Huasiqian and Hu Yanyan grew up together. Even if they weren't close, they were still family. How could they be so cruel? After Shen Mingxi yelled for a while, Huasiqian finally couldn't stand it anymore and came out. He was wearing a white bathrobe and holding a glass of red wine in his hand. He looked very relaxed. CEO Shen, what can I do for you in the middle of the night? Huasiqian, stop pretending. You know very well what you did to Hu Yanyan. What do you mean? I don't understand at all. President Shen, are you sleepwalking? Wasichen laughed. Wasichen, you'll get retribution for this. You won't even let a child go. You're inhumane. At this point, Shen Mingxi rushed up to Wasichen excitedly and raised his fist to punch him. However, he was stopped by Wasichen's bodyguards, who then pushed him to the ground. Because Shen Mingxi hadn't fully recovered and was still injured from the car accident, he was easily pushed to the ground. TSK, look at you. You're not even as strong as a woman. How dare you yell at me like this? Shen Mingxi, are you still breastfeeding? Wasichen said and poured the red wine on Shen Mingxi. Wasichen, fuck your mother. Young Master Shen, who was well-educated, cursed for the first time. He was so angry at Wasichen that he lost his mind. I'm sorry, I don't have a mother. I only have an adoptive mother. If you're interested in that bitch, you can have her anytime. Wasichen was so shameless and perverted that Shen Mingxi didn't know what to say. You guys, throw this kid out. I'm going to rest. After speaking, Wasichen turned and went upstairs. A few of his bodyguards carried Shen Mingxi and threw him on the road outside the door. Some paparazzi took pictures of Shen Mingxi, who was in a mess. The next day. Chapter 29-21. The title was ridiculous. Young Master Shen went to pick a fight with the president of the Hua Corporation in the middle of the night and was thrown out of his house. This incident caused quite a stir in the area. Even Wei Ying and the others who were hiking outside saw it. One of the girls in the group saw it when she was browsing the news on her cell phone. Hey, Ying, come here. Look. What? Young Master Shen is on the headlines. Hearing Shen Mingxi's name, Wei Ying immediately walked over and took the cell phone. After reading the news, her expression was complicated. Why is young Master Shen picking a fight with Wasichen? Weird. The girl murmured to herself. You don't know. He must be doing it because of Hua Yanyan. Didn't you guys know about the viral video of Hua Yanyan streaking yesterday? It said that Wasichen is behind it. A man said, Why is it Wasichen? Isn't it Qin Chu? Someone asked. You guys don't understand. How could Qin Chu do something so despicable? It said that Wasichen did it to frame Qin Chu. Young Master Shen must be mad because of Hua Yanyan. He's so infatuated. Hua Yanyan cheated on him so many times, but he's still protecting her. He must be mad because of her. Hearing his words, Wei Ying's expression changed. Ying, are you okay? I'm fine. Wei Ying shook her head. At this moment, Yi Zhaoyang, who had been silent, walked over. He took off his jacket and put it on Wei Ying. It's cold in the mountains in the morning. Don't catch a cold. It's okay. I brought my own. Thank you. After refusing, Wei Ying took off the jacket and gave it back to Yi Zhaoyang. Then she went into the tent. She seemed to be in a bad mood. You guys, don't talk about Shen Mingxi and Hua Yanyan anymore. Yi Zhaoyang ordered the rich kids. Everyone knew what he meant. Yi Zhaoyang wanted to pursue Wei Ying and didn't want their relationship to be affected. South Hill Manor here, Mrs. Qin. Your breakfast is ready. Qin Chu placed a sumptuous breakfast in front of Huamin. After the second pregnancy, Huamin didn't sleep well and woke up very early in the morning, so the couple would get up early to make breakfast. It was also exceptionally heartwarming. Huamin looked at his plate. There were 2 fried eggs, a grilled sausage, a fried beef patty, a sandwich, a plain donut, a cup of warm milk, and a few slices of pineapple and kiwi. It was so nutritious. On the other hand, Qin Chu only had simple bread, toast, and milk. Ahem. How can I eat like that? It's like I'm exploiting you. Huamin joked. Go ahead and eat. There are 2 of you now. You should eat more. I'm just pregnant. I'm not a pig. I really don't need to be like this. I'm afraid I'll weigh 160 pounds after I give birth. I don't despise you for weighing 160 pounds. Qin Chu chuckled. I despise myself. Fat people don't have a future. No, you have to eat some for me. Then Huamin picked up a grilled sausage with a steel fork and brought it to Mr. Qin's mouth. The scene of the couple feeding each other was especially loving. Qin Chu opened his mouth obediently and ate the food Huamin brought over. Are you busy at work today? Do you want me to get you some documents? Wamin asked. Not much. You stay at home with the kids today. Honey, I think the war has begun. Wasichian seems to be impatient to deal with us. Yes, we can't go on like this. I think we have to strike first and kill him before he can react, Wamin suggested. I'm devising a plan. Chinchu nodded. I have a plan. I think it's pretty good. Do you want to hear it? Wamin said and intimately wrapped her arms around Chinchu's neck. I can tell it's not a good plan from the way you're trying to curry favor with me. I don't think you should say it. Chinchu lowered his head and refused. Chapter 29-22. How can you do that? I haven't even said anything yet, and you're already killing my idea. Can't we have fun together? Wamin pouted. As your husband, I know you very well. You don't have any good plans right now, so I don't have to listen. Chinchu said calmly. Don't give me a chance to show off. Otherwise, a lot of people will think that I've become stupid again after getting pregnant, haha. After Huamin finished speaking, she kissed Chinchu on the cheek and began her sugar-coated attack. Mr. Chin had never been able to resist his wife, so, in the end, his heart softened. Then let's hear it. Chinchu took a bite of bread and looked at Huamin. Ahem, calm down, haha. Listen to me slowly. My plan is like this. After speaking, Wamin whispered her idea into Chinchu's ear. After hearing what she said, Chinchu's face immediately darkened. Honey, what do you think? Wamin looked excited. Very good, it's a great plan. Wamian, you're so smart. Really? Wamin asked with a smile. You have the nerve to ask me if it's real or not. Wamian, are you asking for a beating? What kind of bullshit plan is that? Mr. Chin was so angry that he threw the bread onto the table. I think it's great. Wasichin has always been on guard against you. Whether it's you, Su Yu, or Gao Ran, none of you can do anything to him. But I'm different. I can lower his guard. As long as I can lure him out, then we'll all be caught in one fell swoop. Wamin raised her little fist, full of confidence. So you came up with the stupid idea of using yourself as bait? Chinchu questioned coldly. It's not a bad idea. I think it's pretty good. As the saying goes, you can't trap a wolf without sacrificing your child. You can't trap a hoodlum without sacrificing your wife. Wamin quibbled. I'm sorry, but I really don't want to leave my wife, and I don't want to be a hooligan. Mr. Chin denied. Wamin, hubby, don't be like this. Let's discuss it again. There's no need to discuss. That's impossible. Even if I die, I won't let you lure the snake out of its hole. Just give up. Chinchu's attitude was firm. Honey, look at the situation we're in now. I'm doing this for the good of our family. I have a way. You don't have to worry about this. You're pregnant now, so you have to take care of yourself and the girls. I'm a man, your husband, and the father of the children. I have the responsibility to protect this family. That's all. After that, Chinchu got up, picked up his briefcase, and left the room. It was obvious that Wamin's rotten idea had really annoyed him. He didn't even give her a goodbye kiss before he left. He did it every day. I seem to have angered my husband. Wamin pouted awkwardly. The truth was, she had thought about this for a long time, and thought it was feasible before she said it. Plus, this was the first time she had made up her mind to kill Wasichin. She had many chances before, but Wamin still relented. However, she didn't expect that things would get more troublesome. So this time, Wamin decided that no matter what others said about her, she had to destroy Wasichin completely. Otherwise, the whole family wouldn't have a good life. This was the undeniable truth. At the Huo Corporation, Aching, go to lynching tonight and bring back all my weapons, Wasichin ordered. Boss, are we going to war? Aching knew exactly how much firepower Wasichin had in lynching. Chapter 29-23. Wasichin smiled slightly, but didn't say anything. Go, bring a few more people with you. Don't let anything go wrong. Yes, boss. Wasichin nodded. Then, Aching turned around and walked out. After making sure no one was behind him, he immediately took out his phone and called Chinchu. Mr. Chin, they're already preparing to make a move. I'm going to lynching tonight to get some weapons. He's been saving them over the years. They're very powerful. Okay, got it. Chin-Chu's face was still calm, as if this had nothing to do with him. I'm leaving tonight. It'll probably be after midnight when I get back. Be careful. Okay. Mr. Chin, the child's heart surgery has been completed. Thank you. Ah-Ching thanked Chin-Chu from the bottom of his heart. Although Chin-Chu was also suspected of being a threat, he indirectly saved the child during the heart surgery. He wasn't like Wasiqian, who was so heartless that he didn't even let go of Hua Yanyan's 5-year-old daughter. Ah-Ching didn't know when it started, but he felt like he had changed. For some reason, he felt at ease when he was working for Chin-Chu. After Ah-Ching left, Wasiqian's gaze became subtle then. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Wait for my order. Get ready to move. Then, Wasiqian hung up the phone, with a creepy smile on his face. After Hua Yanyan's incident, a large number of ghostwriters appeared on all major forums, and they even exposed a recording. Hua Yanyan said Chin-Chu's name herself. This completely targeted Chin-Chu. That day, GK was surrounded by all major media outlets. Some self-proclaimed righteous people even brought eggs and mineral water to Chin-Chu's company to cause trouble and curse. Gao Ran had no choice but to bring the police to protect the company, but they were accused of colluding with the police. This incident had a very bad impact on the local community. The head of the public security department directly called Gao Ran's phone to question him. Mayor Yan also sternly reprimanded Gao Ran for his incompetence. Huamin was at home. When he saw the live broadcast on TV, he started to feel uneasy. How did this happen? What's going on, Mian? Chin-Chu's parents were also confused when they saw the news. It's okay, Dad, Mom. I believe that he will handle it well. Sis-in-law, this Wei Yan is so disgusting. Her mother is dead, but she's still haunting you. Why don't you just kill her so that she won't cause any more trouble? Qin Ning was also furious. It had been a long time since the group had been pushed to the teeth of the storm. Chin-Chu's situation was a bit troublesome, but it was not to the point of being in a terrible situation. Chin-Chu knew that this was Wasiqian's little trick. Group headquarters Chin-Chu picked up his phone and made a video call to Huamin. Honey, how's the company? I saw a lot of reporters surrounding the company. Do you want to hold a press conference? Huamin asked anxiously. No, it's okay. Have you had lunch? No, how can I eat? I'm in a hurry. Dad and Mom are worried about you too. Good girl, eat first. Don't starve. Chin-Chu's eyes were filled with gentleness. But, Mian, the situation is a bit different now. Listen to me. Okay. You, Mom, Dad, Ning, and the kids, don't go out. Don't even take one step out of our house. Okay. I hope that after tonight, everything will be over. Chin-Chu said. Okay, I'll listen to you, honey. Huamin seemed to understand the meaning behind Chin-Chu's words. It seemed that the war with Wasiqian was about to start. After hanging up the video call, Huamin told him what Chin-Chu said. 2 hours later, the kids went downstairs to play with their grandparents in the living room. Qin Ning was video chatting with Tang Chuan in the room. Huamin felt a bit sleepy, so she went back to the master bedroom to sleep. In her sleep, she vaguely felt that someone was slowly approaching her. Chapter 29-24. Huamin sensed danger and tried to wake up, but she couldn't. In the afternoon, Chin-Chu video called Huamin after he finished his work, but she didn't pick up. He sent her a WeChat message. He called her. Chin-Chu immediately panicked. He called the landline, and Pudding picked up. Daddy. Pudding called out sweetly. Pudding, where's your mommy? She's upstairs. She went back to her room to rest an hour ago. She looks very tired, Pudding said. I called her, but she didn't pick up. I sent her a WeChat message, but she didn't reply. Then what's going on? Pudding was curious, because she knew that her mommy was a light sleeper. She would wake up at the slightest sound, so she could hear the phone ringing. Go up and see. Okay. Hurry up. Chin-Chu was very anxious. Okay. Pudding didn't hang up and immediately ran upstairs. She gently knocked on the door, afraid that she would scare her mommy. Mommy, are you in there? After 5 seconds of not getting a reply, Pudding gently pushed the door open. Pudding let out a sigh of relief when she saw the person on the bed. Phew, she's sleeping, Pudding murmured. Pudding saw Huamin lying on the bed, wearing her favorite nightgown, with her back to the door. Her back rose and fell slightly. It seemed like she hadn't woken up yet. Pudding gently closed the door, walked out, and picked up the phone. Daddy, Mommy is sleeping. You saw it with your own eyes? Chinchu asked. Yeah, I saw it. I just opened the door and she's inside. She's probably in a deep sleep and didn't hear me. Or maybe her phone is on silent. Do you want me to wake her up? Pudding asked. Forget it. Maybe she's too nervous and didn't sleep well last night. Let her sleep. Okay. Daddy, is there anything else? Is there anything wrong at home? Is there anything strange going on? Or did someone strange come? Chinchu asked worriedly. No, just like usual. That's good. Yes. Then you and your sister shouldn't run around. I might send you to the Su family tonight. Go to the Su family? Why? I'll tell you about this later. Anyway, listen to me. Okay, don't worry, Daddy. Pudding nodded obediently. Afterwards, Chinchu hung up the phone with his daughter. Then Chinchu called Suyu. However, in order to prevent their conversation from being monitored, Chinchu asked Suyu to meet him at the company. Suyu happened to be having a meal with a few directors nearby. Halfway through the meal, he received a call and rushed over. President Chin, President Su is here. Yes, let him in. All right. Assistant Yang brought Suyu into the CEO's office. You don't seem to ask me out often. Something big must have happened, right? Suyu went straight to the point. Take a seat first. Suyu nodded and sat down on the sofa across from Chinchu. Tonight, I might have to ask you for a favor. What is it? Suyu was slightly surprised. After dark, take Mian and the kids to your house for a night. My house. Suyu was even more confused. It's not your private mansion. It's Grandpa Su's house. Chinchu corrected her. Why so sudden? Suyu knew that Chinchu wouldn't let his wife and kids stay over for no reason, because Lord Su's place is heavily guarded. Chinchu said straightforwardly. Only then did Suyu react. He asked in a serious tone, Are you planning to fight with Wasiqian? Chapter 29-25. Yeah. Damn, so sudden. You didn't tell me in advance. Why should I tell you? Suyu was speechless. I want to work with you to deal with that bastard. I have as many men as you do. Suyu said. No need. Suyu was speechless. Why not? Suyu was confused. I'm not at the point where I need my love rival to help me. Mr. Chin said faintly. Suyu was speechless. Is this the time for you to be so arrogant? Suyu was on the verge of breaking down. Chinchu really made him speechless. No. Are you being reasonable? Is this the time for you to be willful? Suyu was angry. No. Is Wasiqian that easy to deal with? Suyu tried to persuade Chinchu. That won't do either. Chinchu looked calm. Damn. Suyu was completely speechless at this moment. It was so tiring to communicate with Chinchu. No matter what he said, he would only reply with one sentence. Suyu really wanted to run over and ask Amin how he could stand such a boring man. How could he continue to be in love with him for 10 years? If I were a woman, I definitely wouldn't be with you. What the hell? Suyu accused Chinchu angrily. Mr. Chin replied with a serious expression. If you were a woman, I wouldn't want you either. Why? Because you're too ugly, Chinchu said. Suyu was speechless. Can't we have a pleasant conversation? Do you want to fight? Suyu was angry and amused. It's settled then. Go pick them up at South Hill Manor at 6 p.m. Chinchu looked down at his watch. Just Mian and the kids. Suyu confirmed. Yes. What about Qi Ning and your parents? Ning Ning will be taken care of by Tang Chuan. I'll send someone to take care of my parents. But I don't think Wasiqian will care about my parents. I'm worried about the kids and Mian. That's true. All right, it's settled then. After that, Suyu got up and walked out. Thank you. Chinchu thanked Suyu even though it was very cold and stiff. No need. I'm not doing this for you. Suyu said without turning his head. When he reached the door, Suyu paused and whispered, "Be careful." He knew that the battle between Qin Chu and Huasiqian would happen sooner or later. Huasiqian had been plotting for years to take Huamin away from Qin Chu. How could Qin Chu, who loved his wife so much, allow such a thing to happen? Both men had high IQs and were influential figures. Such a battle would probably be earth-shattering, right? That was what Suyu thought, however. He didn't expect Huasiqian to be such an unpredictable person. An hour later, Qin Chu thought Huamin was about to wake up. He called her again and wanted to tell her about going to Suyu's house tonight. Unfortunately, she still didn't pick up his call or reply to his WeChat message. Qin Chu had a bad feeling about this, so he didn't call home this time. Instead, he turned on his computer and pulled up the real-time surveillance footage. He found the master bedroom and turned it on. As expected, he saw Huamin sleeping on the bed. She was wearing her favorite light pink nightgown. Her shoulder-length hair was black and thick. Even though she had given birth twice and was pregnant with her second child, her body was still as slender as a young girl's. Qin Chu's gaze softened. Just as he was about to turn off the video, his hand froze. Suddenly, his hand paused, and he stared at the screen for more than 10 seconds. That person isn't Mian. After Qin Chu said this, his face turned pale. Chapter 29-26. When he realized this, Qin Chu broke out in a cold sweat for the first time. He regretted that he didn't observe the situation more carefully earlier. When he asked Pudding to check on Huamian's room, Pudding said that Huamian was sleeping. Huamin's back was facing the door, which meant that Huamin was sleeping on the left side. Qin Chu turned on the surveillance camera and found that Huamian was still sleeping on the left side. This was definitely abnormal. Although it was only a small detail, Qin Chu knew that it was a big deal. Huamin was a medical student and cared a lot about his health. It was the most basic knowledge of medicine. Sleeping on the left side was not a healthy position because most people's hearts were on the left side. Sleeping on the left side would put pressure on the heart, therefore. Huamin spent most of his time lying on his back or on the right side. Even if he changed his position and slept on the left side, it wouldn't last long. However, it had been a long time since he called Pudding, but the person on the bed was still in the same position. This could only mean two things. First, she wasn't Huamin. Second, she was hiding her identity by turning her back to the door. She didn't want her family to find out, and she also turned her back to the surveillance camera so that Qin Chu wouldn't find out. 10 seconds later, Qin Chu jumped up, kicked open the office door, and ran out. "President Qin, where are you going?" Yang was also worried when he saw how panicked the president was. After all, he had been working for the president for so long and had never seen him so anxious. Qin Chu didn't have time to go to the underground parking lot. He drove a domestic Volkswagen that belonged to an unknown employee and sped all the way. It was rush hour and he was stuck in a traffic jam. Qin Chu honked furiously and called Huamin, but he still didn't pick up. At this time, he didn't dare to call home and asked them to go to the master bedroom. He was unsure of the identity of the person who had impersonated Huamin. If it was an assassin sent by Huasiqian, then wouldn't his family be in danger? On the other side, Qin Chu told Suyu to go to South Hill Manor to pick him up after dark. However, Suyu could not wait for the sky to turn dark. If Qin Chu really wanted to deal with Huasiqian tonight, he would not be able to do it. In that case, South Hill Manor would definitely be very dangerous. Therefore, he and drove a limited edition Rolls-Royce to pick up the children and Huamin. South Hill Manor, the nanny opened the door for Suyu. When he walked in, the twins, who were playing in the living room, jumped up happily. "Wow, it's Handsome Sue." Little Bean's eyes widened. "Handsome Sue, why are you here?" Pudding asked calmly. "I'm here to bring you guys to my house." "Where's your mommy?" "Mommy is sleeping upstairs," Little Bean said. "What kind of sleep is she sleeping? What time is it?" "Go and wake her up." Suyu smiled. "Suyu, what do you mean?" Qin Ning was a little confused when she saw Suyu suddenly come to pick them up. She even felt a little unfriendly. "This is between your brother and me. Don't worry about it." Hurry up and pack up. Go and find Tang Chuan. Su Yu waved his hand. What's going on? My brother also asked me to find Tang Chuan. What's going on? Qin Ning did not seem to know. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. It must be for your own good. Hurry up and go if you don't want your brother to be distracted. Su Yu said. Qin Ning wanted to say something, but in the end, she opened her mouth, but did not say anything. Little Bean climbed into Su Yu's arms like a little monkey and began to act like a spoiled child. Pudding followed his instructions and went upstairs to wake up Huamin. However, to her surprise. Chapter 29-27. Mommy, wake up. Pudding knocked on the door, but she didn't get a response. Mommy, wake up. Uncle Su is here. I think he wants to talk to you. Pudding raised her voice, but she still didn't get a response. Pudding thought it was strange and slowly opened the door. She saw her mommy sleeping in the same position. Mommy. Pudding tried to raise her voice. At this time, even those who were asleep would be woken up by the noise. But Huamin still didn't respond. Pudding was anxious. She rushed over and shook Huamin's body. Mommy, what's wrong with you? As soon as Pudding finished speaking, the woman on the bed got up and grabbed Pudding by the neck. Pudding couldn't breathe and felt uncomfortable. Little bastard, we meet again. Zhang Manlin smiled viciously. Why is it you? Pudding didn't expect the person on the bed at home to be the bitch Zhang Manlin. How could you have thought of that? Hua Xiqian's plan was perfect. He tricked everyone by swapping out the real person. You let go of me. Let go of you. Is that possible? I'm counting on you to leave South Hill Manor safely. Zhang Manlin smiled viciously. My mommy, where is she? Pudding realized that her mommy might have disappeared a long time ago. When her daddy called, she might have seen Zhang Manlin. Your mommy is done for this time. You'll never see her again. What did you do to her? You evil woman. Pudding glared at Zhang Manlin, wanting to eat her up. I can't decide whether your mommy lives or dies. You'll have to ask Hua Xiqian. Bitch, I'll kill you. Pudding suddenly struggled with all her strength and reached out to grab Zhang Manlin's neck. Zhang Manlin didn't expect the kid to be this strong. Her neck was scratched and bled. She shoved Pudding to the ground, knocking the porcelain vase off the table behind her. The vase fell to the ground and shattered into pieces with a loud crack. Su Yu was playing with Little Bean downstairs. Hearing that something was wrong, he immediately rushed upstairs. This was the scene he saw when he came up. Zhang Manlin held a sharp dagger against Pudding's neck. She grabbed Pudding by the collar as if she was grabbing a chick, showing no mercy. Zhang Manlin, why are you here? Su Yu asked in surprise. Handsome Su. She works for Hua Xiqian. She replaced Mommy with Hua Xiqian. Mommy is in Hua Xiqian's hands now. Hurry and tell Daddy to save her. Pudding's logical thinking was very clear. Even at such a critical moment, she was still able to concisely and completely narrate the whole thing. After hearing what she said, Su Yu's expression changed drastically. Zhang Manlin, where's Huamin? Su Yu clenched his fists. He wanted to tear Zhang Manlin into pieces to vent his anger. How would I know? She was taken away by Hua Xiqian a few hours ago. I'm just following Hua Xiqian's orders and pretending to be Huamin. What did you say? Su Yu's expression became more and more unsightly. A few hours ago, she was already in Hua Xiqian's hands? Didn't that mean? He didn't dare to think further. Handsome Su, kill this woman. Don't let her walk out of here alive. Don't worry about me. Pudding looked at Su Yu calmly and said word by word. Chapter 29-28. Pudding, what the hell are you talking about? Su Yu was exasperated. I'm serious. Don't worry about me. But don't let this bitch out. Pudding was ready to risk everything. Kid, you're wrong. Su Yu loves you so much. How could he let you die? My life isn't as valuable as yours. Zhang Manlin laughed. Zhang Manlin, let go of Pudding and I'll let you go. Su Yu was scared that Zhang Manlin would hurt Pudding by accident. I don't believe you. Get out of my way. I want to take her out. I'll only let her go when I'm sure it's safe. Zhang Manlin insisted. Handsome Su, Don't believe her. You can't let her go. Pudding didn't want to let Zhang Manlin go. It was obvious how much she hated her. Why should I believe you? What if you still hold Pudding hostage after you get out? Suyu asked angrily. Because you don't have a choice. You can only trust me. Either you let me go, and I'll take the brat out. Once we're safe, you'll let her go. Or, I'll kill the brat now, and then you'll kill me. I don't care if we die together. My life is worthless. How can it compare to President Qin's precious daughter? Haha. From Zhang Manlin's expression, it was obvious that she wasn't normal. She was crazy. Because her face was disfigured, she looked extremely ferocious. Damn woman, let go of my sister. My daddy won't let you go. Pudding was also anxious. She pointed at Zhang Manlin and cursed. Your daddy? Ha! He can't even protect himself. How can he deal with me? Suyu, what should we do? Qin Ning was also out of ideas. The two elders of the Qin family were so scared that they were about to have a heart attack. They were taken to a room to rest. In the living room, only Pudding, Qin Ning, and Suyu were there. Then, Zhang Manlin held Pudding hostage with a dagger. The scene was extremely frightening. What? Do you still want to think about it? Zhang Manlin saw that Suyu wasn't willing to let her go. Anxious, he exerted some force on the dagger. She felt a sharp pain, but Pudding didn't make a sound, because she knew that Suyu was already anxious enough. If she cried because of the pain, Suyu would be even more anxious. But there were already bloodstains on Whitey's neck. Little bastard, you've got guts. You didn't say anything. Zhang Manlin lowered her head and smiled sinisterly. Bitch Zhang, fuck your ancestors. If you dare to hurt my sister, I'll kill your whole family. Do you believe me? Little Bean had never been so violent before. Although she often quarreled with her sister, their relationship as sisters was actually very good. Last time, they were kidnapped by Yongjun and Shinjiani. Little Bean was injured and Pudding risked her life to fight the two criminals to give her sister an injection. Therefore, when Little Bean saw Zhang Manlin threaten her sister with a knife, her heart raced. I'd just like to see you hate me, but can't kill me. Zhang Manlin was extremely arrogant. Handsome Su, listen to me. You can't let this woman go. She's an untrustworthy person. Once she gets out, she won't let me go. Pudding calmly tried to persuade Suyu. Pudding, no, I can't watch you like this. Suyu felt a dull pain in his heart. It was a very difficult choice. Suyu, don't be a sissy. I'll count to 3. If you don't let me go, I'll kill this little girl right here. Zhang Manlin threatened. Chapter 29-29. Go ahead. Even if you kill me, you won't be able to get out. My dad will skin you alive and tear out your tendons. He'll make you wish you were dead. Pudding glared at Zhang Manlin. Ha, so what? No matter how you torture me, you won't be able to come back to life. Zhang Manlin grasped this point and was very arrogant. Zhang Manlin, are you evil? You won't even let a child go. Are you even human? Qin Ning pointed at Zhang Manlin and yelled with tears in her eyes. Shut up. If it weren't for this family, I wouldn't have ended up like this. These two damned girls colluded with Qin Chu and tricked me, causing me to be tortured by Wasiqian. I'll never forget it. Of course, Wasiqian is my enemy, and so are you. If I have to destroy one side, then I'll choose Wasiqian to destroy you. I just don't want to see you happy and reunited with your family. Qin Chu cares about his wife and daughter the most, right? Haha. Then I'll lose him completely today. Wamin is already in Wasiqian's hands. If this little brat dies in my hands, then my wish will be fulfilled. So Suyu, it doesn't matter if you let me go or not. It's enough for me to die with this little girl. Zhang Manlin was provoking Suyu with her words. Suyu's expression changed again and again. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't risk Pudding's life. If something really happened to Pudding, Huamin would never forgive him. He knew that. Handsome Su, don't be provoked by this woman's words. She's doing it on purpose. She's afraid of death. She just wants you to let her go. Pudding said. Just then, a voice came from the living room door. Let go of my daughter. The voice was cold. Who else could it be but Mr. Qin? Big brother, you're finally back. What should we do? Sister-in-law is missing. Qin Ning cried when she saw Qin Chu. Daddy, please save sister and mommy. This bad woman made sister's neck bleed. Little Bean ran over and hugged Qin Chu's leg. Qin Chu got up and carried Little Bean in his arms with one hand. He looked very handsome. You came back just in time. You decide. Seeing that Qin Chu had returned, Suyu also breathed a sigh of relief. This man always had a way to solve all these problems, didn't he? Suyu felt that Qin Chu was indeed much calmer than him in certain aspects. President Qin, long time no see. I've missed you so much. Zhang Manlin looked at Qin Chu with a strange smile. Indeed, it's you. On the way back, Qin Chu wondered if it was a female assassin pretending to be Huamin. After all, Huamin's body was lying there for a few hours. His family could easily recognize it, unless they found someone who looked like Huamin's figure and back. Zhang Manlin was the best candidate. Yeah, it's me. I'm just like a ghost. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being soft-hearted and not killing me. That's why you left behind trouble. Where's my wife? Qin Chu asked. Do you think I'll tell you? Zhang Manlin smiled viciously. Daddy, don't worry about me. Kill her and avenge Mommy. This woman switched Mommy. Pudding looked into Qin Chu's eyes and said, Let me go, or I'll kill her right now. Zhang Manlin put more force into the knife. Blood oozed out of Pudding's neck. It was terrifying. Don't hurt my daughter, and I'll let you go, Qin Chu said decisively. Chapter 29:30. Daddy. Pudding wanted to say something, but Qin Chu gave her a look. She immediately understood what her daddy meant and didn't say anything else. Big brother, are we really going to let her go? What if she hurts Pudding again? Qin Ning asked worriedly. Let her go. Qin Chu was determined. Then, the bodyguards behind him opened the door to the living room. Zhang Manlin looked around cautiously and then walked out with Pudding. When they passed by the swimming pool, Qin Chu coughed lightly. Pudding immediately used her head to slam into Zhang Manlin's stomach. She lost her balance and leaned back. The knife in her hand also lost its center of gravity and flew out. Behind them was the swimming pool. Pudding and Zhang Manlin both fell into the water. Qin Chu immediately put down Pudding in his arms. His first reaction was to jump into the pool and carry his daughter out. Then, the bodyguards rushed up and grabbed Zhang Manlin. They pulled her out of the pool. My brother is so cool. Qin Ning was excited. In their eyes, such a serious matter was solved by Qin Chu in less than 2 minutes. Most importantly, Qin Chu and Pudding had a tacit understanding. The father and daughter knew what to do with just one look. Go and bandage Pudding's wound. Qin Chu handed Pudding to Suyu. Sis, how are you? Does it hurt? Pudding leaned over and cried. I'm fine. Don't cry. Pudding comforted her sister gently. Handsome Sue, don't worry about me. Go find my mommy. We can't let Huasichen take her away. Pudding didn't forget to remind Suyu. Don't worry. Leave it to me and your daddy. Don't worry. Just bandage your wound. Suyu also felt bad for Pudding. She was still thinking about her mommy at a time like this. Qin Chu was wearing a black long-sleeved shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He slowly walked over and saw Zhang Manlin in a sorry state. Haha, don't waste your time. I'm not going to tell you where Huamin is. You'll never see her again, Zhang Manlin said viciously. Qin Chu picked up the dagger that Zhang Manlin had used before. Then he suddenly stabbed the knife into Zhang Manlin's waist. It wasn't a fatal spot, but the pain was unbearable. Ah! Unable to withstand the sudden pain, Zhang Manlin screamed in agony. At this moment, she was even less courageous than Pudding, wailing like a ghost and howling like a wolf. Don't worry, I won't ask you. I just want to avenge my daughter, that's all. With that, Qin Chu pulled out the dagger from Zhang Manlin's waist then. He stabbed the other side. Qin Chu, what kind of hero are you? How could you torture a woman like this? Zhang Manlin cursed. Heroes? I've never been one. With that, Chin Chu slowly grabbed the dagger and pulled it out again. Blood began to flow from both sides of Zhang Manlin's waist, just when she thought it was all over. Chin Chu stabbed the dagger into the middle of her stomach again. Very good. It's not fatal, but it'll hurt you forever. Chin Chu looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction. He was from medical school, so he knew the structure of the human body too well. This stab avoided all the vital parts. It wouldn't kill Zhang Manlin, but it would make her life worse than death. Chin Chu, you'll get what you deserve. Zhang Manlin cursed with difficulty. Chapter 2931. Retribution? I've never believed in such things. I only know that I'm in control of my own fate, not the heavens. Chin Chu said calmly. Haha, you're going to lose Huamin this time. No, I've never lost her. You will. This time is different. Huasiqian's plan for all these years has been activated. Ha! Zhang Manlin, a woman like you. Do you know what's best for you? Chin Chu stared into her eyes and asked word for word. You want me to cut you into 8 pieces, right? Ha ha ha. Zhang Manlin laughed maniacally. No, to deal with you. I can only vent my anger by burning you to ashes. Then, Chin Chu pulled out the dagger from Zhang Manlin's abdomen again. The 3 wounds bled at the same time. It was very fast. Zhang Manlin felt that she was about to faint then. Her body went limp, and she fell backward. The bodyguards couldn't hold her up. Chin Chu looked at the despicable woman on the ground and pulled out his gun from behind him. He picked up the cushion on the side and shot Zhang Manlin in the head. This shot directly blew her head off. The bodyguards were also shocked. Drag her out, burn her, and throw her into the sea. Chin Chu ordered. Yes, yes. He was really going to burn Zhang Manlin to ashes. He thought that this woman couldn't be arrogant anymore and should go back to the mountains to retire. He didn't want to be involved in the war between Qin and Hua because of hatred. After taking care of Zhang Manlin, Chin Chu returned to the infirmary. Pudding's neck was already bandaged. Daddy. Pudding hugged Chin Chu's neck. You were scared just now, right? I'm sorry Daddy came back late. Chin Chu gently patted Pudding's back and comforted his daughter. No, Daddy is very strong. By the way, where's that bad woman? She's dead. She won't appear again. Chin Chu replied. Okay, then Daddy, let's go and save Mommy. Okay, leave it to Daddy. Pudding, you and your sister go with Uncle Sue to Great-Grandpa's house first. Daddy, we're not leaving. We want to go with you to save Mommy. Little Bean pouted. With you here, Daddy will be more easily distracted. Chin Chu patiently explained to his daughter. Pudding, Little Bean, come with me. When everything is over, come back. I believe that your daddy will bring your mommy back safely. Suyu also tried to persuade the twins. In the end, the 2 children nodded and got into the car reluctantly, and took care of the twins, while Suyu stayed behind to talk to Chin Chu alone. Do you know where Huamin is now? Suyu asked Chin Chu. I don't know. I think she might still be in the Wu family's villa. Isn't the most dangerous place the safest place? Let's go there and look. Maybe the Wu family's villa has a secret passage or something. Suyu guessed. Leave it to me. Just take good care of my daughters. At a time like this, there's strength in numbers. The kids will be fine at my house. My grandpa's security system is so strong that even 10 Huasiqians wouldn't be able to break through it, let alone Huasiqian. Plus, now that he has Huasiqian, he won't be so bored as to come back and get the kids. So, I'll help you look for her. Chin Chu didn't say anything. It was obvious that Huamin's sudden disappearance was a big blow to Chin Chu. He had never expected that Huasiqian would swap Huamian out in the middle of the day. Huamian had mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Plus, he didn't receive any news from Aching. Chapter 2932. Bro, say something. Seeing Chin Chu's silence, Suyu felt bad. He suddenly realized how important Huamin was to Chin Chu. Damn it, Huasiqian is a bastard. If I catch him this time, I'll kill him for sure. Even if I have to go to jail for 20 years, it'll be worth it. He's such a scourge. Suyu cursed. He wanted to strangle Huasiqian. But Chin Chu still didn't say a word. Chin Chu. Suyu was about to say something. Chin Chu looked up at him and said slowly, Suyu, take care of my daughter. What are you doing? Are you trying to kill him? Do you know where he is? I said I'd go to the Hua mansion with you. Why didn't you go? Suyu started nagging. Chin Chu, on the other hand, was even more taciturn than usual in the face of such an important event. Hey Chin Chu, where are you going? Seeing Chin Chu leave, Suyu was even more anxious. I'll find Mian. With that, Chin Chu turned around and left South Hill Manor. Tang Chuan had also rushed over after receiving the news. He drove a flashy new car, an orange Lamborghini. Ning Ning, what's going on? Tang Chuan was confused. My sister-in-law is missing. My brother is worried sick. Qin Ning answered with tears in her eyes. Huh? Sister-in-law is missing? How is that possible? She's still alive. How can she disappear at home? Tang Chuan knew that the Qin family had been on high alert recently. How could Huamin disappear in broad daylight? I don't know what Wasiqian did. When I went upstairs, I saw that she wasn't in the room. Only Zhang Manlin was there. Zhang Manlin? What the hell is going on? Tang Chuan was even more confused. Qin Ning cried like a pear blossom in the rain after returning to China. So many things had happened. Sometimes, Qin Ning felt helpless. She wanted to share her brother's burden, but she couldn't help at all. Ning Ning, be a good girl. Don't cry. We can talk about it slowly, okay? Tang Chuan saw that Qin Ning's eyes were red from crying. He comforted her and put his arm around her shoulders. Qin Ning, on the other hand, sobbed intermittently as she recounted what had happened. Motherfucker, Wasiqian is so fucking awesome. It's broad daylight, and he's trying to switch us out. Tang Chuan was furious when he heard what Wasiqian said. What I'm worried about is where my sister-in-law went. Qin Ning sobbed. Where are the twins? Tang Chuan asked. They were taken away by Suyu. My brother told me that he might fight Wasiqian to the death. Come to my house first. It's probably not safe here. I'll get someone to start looking for my sister-in-law. We'll definitely find her. She won't go far. Even if she leaves by plane, it's not easy to get through the airport security. My dad and the person in charge of the airport are good friends, so don't worry about it. Tang Chuan rarely bragged to Qin Ning about his abilities. This was the first time he did it, so he didn't want Qin Ning to worry. But it was true that the Tang family was very powerful in this city. Qin Ning's mood improved a lot after hearing this. She nodded and got into Tang Chuan's car, leaving with him. Qin Chu also arranged for the two elders of the Qin family and Huamin's mother to live in another place with special protection. In Suyu's car, the twins didn't say a word. It was like heaven compared to their usual lively selves. Hey, you two, say something. I'm really worried. Suyu felt bad for the twins. Seeing them in low spirits made him feel bad too. Chapter 2933. Handsome Su. Do you think my mommy will die? Little Bean looked up at Suyu with tears on her face. No, don't worry. Your mommy will be fine. Mommy won't die because Wasiqian likes my mommy and won't hurt her. Pudding analyzed calmly. Yes, Pudding is right. You two don't have to worry. Oh. Suyu comforted the twins. Then Pudding said, but the big bad guy will take my mommy away, and we won't be able to find her for the rest of our lives. Then Pudding lowered her head and began to cry. Hearing this, Little Bean also burst into tears. She cried and said, my sister's right. The big bad guy has been thinking about my mommy for a long time. This time, he will take my mommy to a place very, very far away, where we won't be able to find her. Last time, when we were kidnapped, the big bad guy told my mommy that he would take her to some island and be with her forever. Daddy is so pitiful to lose my mommy. What if we can't see her again? We don't even know if she's pregnant with a little brother or sister. After Little Bean's emotional speech, Suyu almost burst into tears, and also had tears in his eyes as he drove. President Su, will President Hu really not come back this time? And asked, Pooh, shut your mouth. No, our Dr. Hua is so smart and smart. He's more than capable of dealing with Wasiqian. You have to believe in her. Su Yu comforted the twins. Then, he took out the snacks and candies he bought for the kids from the bag beside him. Little Bean, come and have an egg tart. I can't eat. Little Bean said pitifully. Don't eat so much. We have to maintain our strength to find a way to save your mommy. I still can't eat. I'm not in the mood. It was rare for Little Bean to not be tempted by food. For the first time, the two kids were not interested in anything. No matter how Su Yu comforted them, they refused to speak. At the Su mansion, when Lady Su saw the two children, she enthusiastically took them upstairs to change their clothes and prepare for dinner. Don't tell Lord Su and Grandma Su about this, in case they worry, okay? Su Yu whispered to the twins. The two kids nodded. Mom, you guys go ahead and eat first. The child might stay at our house for the next few days. Where's Mian and her husband? Lady Su was curious. They went on a business trip to America. There's no one to take care of the child. Oh, good. It just so happens that I miss these two girls. I'll stay for a while longer. Lady Su liked Little Bean and Pudding very much. When she heard that she was going to stay here for a few days, she couldn't suppress the excitement on her face. Little Bean, Pudding, what do you want to eat? Tell Grandma Su. We have everything at home. If we don't have it, we'll find a way to get it for you. It's okay, Grandma Su. I'll just eat something. Pudding answered reluctantly. Mom, I'm going out to do something. You guys go ahead and eat. Don't wait for me. After sending the children off, Su Yu couldn't sit still anymore. He turned around and went to find Qin Chu with Un. He wanted to join the rescue operation for Huamin. Tang Chuan, Wei Liao, and Gao Ren also came to meet them in GK's president's office. The 5 men sat together. Chu, what should we do now? I installed a tracker on Mian. I should know where she is. Qin Chu said slowly. Holy shit, then hurry up and find her location, so that we can save her. Su Yu stood up anxiously. However, the expression on Qin Chu's face gradually became complicated. Chu, is there something you can't say? Gao Ran saw that something was wrong with Qin Chu and asked. Chapter 29:34. After a moment of silence, Qin Chu said slowly, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Gao Ran frowned slightly. He didn't know what could make Qin Chu so afraid. I'm afraid. Wasiqian is so smart. He'll find the tracker on Mian's body and throw it away. Then, I won't be able to find Mian anymore. Qin Chu's eyes dimmed as soon as he finished speaking. Yes, he was afraid. He was afraid that the last clue would be lost. After Qin Chu said this, the men fell silent again. Does Huamin know where the tracker is? Wei Liao asked. Before Qin Chu could speak, Tang Chuan said, If it's in her phone, she's dead meat. Wasiqian would never give her a phone. Don't think that everyone is as smart as you, okay? Su Yu looked at Tang Chuan speechlessly. Obviously, he didn't agree with him. With Qin Chu's intelligence, there was no way he would put the tracker on her phone. If her phone was gone, then everything would be gone. It's in Mian's necklace, Qin Chu said. Huamin has so many necklaces. Which one are you talking about? Gao Ran was confused. The one she bought a while ago. It's a Bulgari diamond necklace, Qin Chu said. Then it's easy. Wasiqian wouldn't notice something that's always on her, right? Chu, let's not waste time. Let's check it out, Gao Ran suggested. Su Yu nodded. Yeah, let's check it out. We can't be afraid of losing the clue. With a heavy heart, Qin Chu turned on his phone and connected to the Trackers app. The men held their breaths, waiting for this moment. They were all worried for Huamin. South of Sea City on the rugged and steep mountain road, a black Mercedes-Benz commercial vehicle sped past. Huamian was sleeping in the back seat. Her eyelashes were slightly curled, and her lips were a natural cherry blossom pink, making anyone who saw her want to kiss her. Boss, the things you asked for are here. The driver turned around and said, Stop ahead, Wasiqian instructed. Then, the car slowly stopped at the edge of the steep cliff. A young man got out of a black Toyota Camry that came from the opposite direction. Boss, where is it? Wasiqian stretched out his hand, Here. The man handed over a small box. Boss, what about Aching? The man asked. Where is he now? Wasichian asked. He's on his way back. Get rid of him. Wasichian ordered without hesitation. All right. Then, Wasichian took the box and got into the car. Wasichian took the box and sat down beside Huamin. Then, he took out a small detector and scanned Huamin's entire body. When it passed by Huamin's neck, the detector beeped loudly. Wasichian narrowed his eyes and carefully examined Huamin's neck. There was a beautiful diamond necklace there. A custom-made Bulgari necklace. Huh. Chinchu sure knows how to come up with ideas. I bet you didn't even know about it, right? Then, Wasichian slowly reached out his hand and broke the necklace. Then, he opened the car window and threw the necklace into the mountain stream beside the mountain road. At this moment, Huamin didn't know she was still asleep. Call them and ask when my little sister will wake up, Wasichian said in a low voice. Chapter 2935. 5 minutes later, Wasichian's subordinate hung up and replied carefully. Boss, they said the slowest is 3 hours, and the fastest is 1 hour. There won't be any side effects, right? Wasichian asked worriedly. No, they said. Miss Hua is just sleeping like usual. Okay. Wasichian's lips curled into an imperceptible smile. Boss, speak. Zhang Manlin is dead. Okay. Wasichian didn't care about that pawn's life at all. Even if she suddenly decided to do one last thing for Wasichian, Wasichian didn't sympathize with her at all. Even if Qin Chu didn't kill her, he wouldn't let her live. Wasichian wouldn't let go of anyone who tried to harm Huamin. Zhang Manlin was shot to death by Qin Chu. Qin Chu was merciful. If someone like her was in my hands, I'd probably cut off her flesh piece by piece and let her experience the most painful pain in the world before she dies. Wasichian chuckled. Boss, are we still going with the original plan? Yes. Then, Hu Yan. Wasichian's subordinate hesitated. Let's do it in half an hour. I like to clean up the mess before I leave. Okay. Then, Wasichian leaned over and looked at Huamin gently. In a few more hours, we'll be together forever. Mian, are you happy? Wasichian whispered to Huamin. The City Bureau's sanatorium, due to Hu Yanyan's special identity and case, as well as Wasichian's previous attempts to frame her. The leaders of the city and even the provincial government were all paying attention to this matter. Therefore, she was not sent directly to a mental hospital like the others. Instead, she was locked up in a sanatorium directly under the City Bureau. Shen Mingxi walked in with Tian. He had been taking care of the child. After all, the child was still young. No matter how close he was to him, it was inevitable that he would look for his mother. Therefore, Shen Mingxi called Gao Ran and brought the child to visit Hu Yanyan. President Shen, she's inside. You can go in, but... The nurse said hesitantly. But what? Her emotions aren't very stable. You'd better stay away from her. You're also not allowed to remove the bandages on her hands and feet. This is what the doctor said, because she has already bitten 3 people before. All right, I got it. Shen Mingxi walked in gloomily. Just as he reached the door, he seemed to hear some noise coming from inside. Listening carefully, Zhang Xian felt that something was amiss. Yan. Shen Mingxi called her name. Since there was no response, he ignored the nurse's warning and kicked the door open. Then he saw an extremely thrilling scene. It was a man wearing a black baseball cap and a black mask. He was holding a hemp rope tightly around Hu Yanyan's neck. Hu Yanyan was strangled so tightly that her eyes rolled back into her head. Her mouth was wide open, but no sound came out. She could only make strange gasping sounds. Mommy. Tian was scared out of her wits and began to cry. Stop it. Shen Mingxi rushed over, and the man immediately jumped out of the window to escape. Judging from his figure and technique, he must be a professional. After the man let go of Hu Yanyan fell to the ground. Yan. Shen Mingxi picked up Hu Yanyan. His face was pale with fright. Mommy, don't die. Tian ran over and knelt on Hu Yanyan, crying miserably. Chapter 29:36. Hui Yanyan was resuscitated for an hour before she gradually regained her breath. However, she was still delirious. Until now, no one knew what medicine Wasiqian had given Hui Yanyan. Many military doctors from the public security department came, but none of them could cure her. Wu Min was the only one who could cure her, but he was nowhere to be found. Shin Mingshi had mixed feelings as he looked at Hui Yanyan lying on the hospital bed. At this point, he no longer had feelings for Hui Yanyan like he did in the past. It was ridiculous to say that he loved her. No matter how great and deep their love was, after experiencing betrayal and lies again and again, it was only fragmented in the end. Now, he only saw Hui Yanyan as a former friend and Qianqian's mother. That was why he felt a little pity for her. Did anything strange happen recently? Shin Mingshi asked. Nothing strange. Things just happened. The young nurse recalled carefully. Then, did she see anyone recently? Or did anyone come to see her? Shin Mingshi asked. Nothing. Okay, I got it. Shin Mingshi stayed with Hui Yanyan in the ward with Tianyang for a while. He only left when he saw that she was sleeping soundly. Uncle Shun, is my mommy okay? Tian asked in the car on the way back. She's fine. Then, Uncle Shun, can we come to see her often? Yes. Uncle Shun, then what should I do in the future? Qianqian's eyes dimmed as she said this. She didn't understand the grudges between adults, but her mommy couldn't even protect herself in this state. What would happen to her in the future? Who would take care of her? Her biological father was missing. She didn't even have a guardian. The child's words deeply touched Shin Mingshi's heart. He raised his hand and gently stroked Qianqian's head. From now on, you can stay with Uncle Shun, okay? Can I? The little girl bit her lip as if she didn't quite believe him. Of course, as long as you're willing, Shin Mingshi added. I'm willing. Tian had always had deep feelings for Shin Mingshi. He wasn't her biological father, but she was closer to him than her biological father. Therefore, after hearing that Uncle Shun was taking care of her, the child was very happy. CEO Office of Shun Group Shin, Mingshi took Tian to the company for a meeting. Take care of her and order some food for her. I'll take her home after the meeting, Shin Mingshi said to his secretary. Shin Mingshi was about to head to the conference room when he bumped into his mother. Son, wait. Mom, why are you here? Son, this child can't be kept. Mother Shin's attitude was firm. Mom, what time is it now? Do you still have feelings for Hui Yanyan? Mrs. Shin looked at her son angrily. Mom, I really didn't. Hui Yanyan and I broke off all ties a long time ago. Now that she's mentally unstable, she can't take care of the child. I can't watch the child wander the streets, Shin Mingshi explained. If that's the case, then it's easy. If you can't bear to see her like this, you can send her to the orphanage. Or we can find a good family for her to be adopted. No, Shin Mingshi rejected immediately. Sending her to the orphanage was impossible. He couldn't bear to do that. After all, he couldn't bear to let her be adopted. Son, don't be foolish. You're still single. You can remarry and have another child. This isn't your child anyway. Why do you have to keep raising her? You're making trouble for yourself. Don't you want to reconcile with Ing? Do you think she'll accept Hui Yanyan's daughter? Mother Shin questioned sternly. Chapter 29:37. Mom, don't talk about it. I haven't thought about the future yet, but in this situation, I can't leave the child alone. Shin Mingshi and his mother confronted each other. Tian seemed to know it was because of her, so she hid behind Shin Mingshi and tightly tugged at the corner of his shirt. Uncle Shun, don't leave me. Her voice was very small and filled with fear. Yes, she was afraid of being abandoned. She was a child who had been deprived of love since she was young. Perhaps she was a child who shouldn't have been born in this world. She didn't understand. Little Bean and Pudding were little girls like her. Why did the twins have everything? They had parents who loved them, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and aunts. But she, even her own mother, would yell at her when she was crazy. The only person who had ever given her warmth was Uncle Shun. But people kept telling her that Uncle Shun wasn't her father and that they weren't related by blood. No, I won't leave you. With that, Shunmingshi got up with the child in his arms and walked into the meeting room. He was afraid that his mother would send the child away if he wasn't there. Mrs. Shun was exasperated. Madam, don't be angry. Young master is soft-hearted now. Maybe he can't bear to leave the child. After things settle down, the child will find a good place to go. The person beside her comforted Mrs. Shun. On the other side, on the way back to the city, Aching and a few men escorted Huasiqian's so-called guy carefully. Because there were too many people, it wasn't convenient for him to call Qin Chu and inform him. Therefore, Aching didn't know everything that happened in Sea City. Until in the suburbs 50 miles away from the city, 3 jeeps came from the opposite side, and more than 20 big men got out of the cars. Big Brother Chung. The man got out of the car and greeted him. Weizi, why are you here? Aching was slightly surprised. Weizi was one of Huasiqian's men, but he rarely showed up. Because Weizi usually carried out some extremely secretive missions, he was rarely in the city. Therefore, when he saw Weizi, Aching had a bad feeling. Oh, boss asked me to pick you up. It's okay. We'll be there in about an hour. Aching smiled. Brother Chung, boss said. Weizi paused. What did boss say? Aching looked at Weizi in confusion. Boss told me to send you on your way. After saying that, Weizi and the others all took out their guns. What are you guys doing? Aching was dumbfounded. Big Brother Chung, you shouldn't have betrayed boss. You know how he is. Weizi looked at Aching with pity. Aching immediately understood that Huasiqian had found out about his betrayal. Brothers, don't be afraid. I only want Aching's life today. It has nothing to do with you. Weizi said to the subordinates behind Aching. Brother Chung, what's going on? The other brothers were also confused. I'm sorry, brothers. Don't worry about me. I asked for it. Aching gritted his teeth. Then, in a flash, he opened the escort box. Originally, he wanted to take out the weapon and fight it out with it. However, when he opened it, he was dumbfounded. Inside were all stones. Do you think boss will still let you escort those things when he knows you're a traitor? Weizi laughed mockingly. Aching's heart turned cold. Chapter 2938. Unarmed and with Weizi's men, Aching thought he was dead meat. Boss said to clean up the mess. So, I'm sorry. Weizi pointed the gun at Aching's heart. Just as he was about to shoot, he heard a gunshot. His men fell to the ground behind him. When Weizi turned around, Aching pounced on one of Weizi's men. Then he snatched the gun. In the chaos, there was a gunfight. Seeing that Aching had reinforcements, Weizi didn't want to fight anymore. He hurriedly fired a few shots and fled. Aching's arm was scratched by a bullet in the gunfight, and it kept bleeding. You're Mr. Qin's men, right? Aching looked at the reinforcements. Yeah. President Qin asked us to bring you back safely. Where's my goddaughter? Aching asked anxiously. Big Brother Aching, don't worry. President Qin has taken your daughter to a safe place. Okay. Aching gritted his teeth and endured the pain. Then, he nodded and followed those people. GK headquarters. Qin Chu used the tracker from before and turned on the location. He saw that Huamin was in the mountains south of the city. It's this location. Gao Ran, get someone to go check it out immediately. Okay. After Gao Ran got the location, he immediately contacted his subordinates. In order to save time, he sent out a helicopter to track him. The men were still waiting anxiously in the office. Brother-in-law, don't worry. I think sister-in-law will be fine. She's so smart. She won't be taken advantage of anywhere. Tang Chuan comforted him. Qin Chu lowered his head and didn't say anything. He held a teacup in his hand and seemed to be thinking about something. I also think Mian will be fine. This time, we caught Huasiqian. In my opinion, we don't need to go through any legal procedures. That kind of psychopath only knows how to take advantage of the loopholes in the law. Does he think he can do whatever he wants just because he's mentally ill and schizophrenic? Su Yu hated Huasiqian so much that his teeth itched. Yeah, I think we can bury that psychopath alive this time. Wei Liao said. Time ticked by. 15 minutes later, Gao Ran's phone rang. Everyone looked at him expectantly. They wanted to hear that Huamin had been found. Unexpectedly, after Gao Ran finished the call, his expression became more complicated. How is it? Have you found him? Su Yu's face was filled with anticipation. Gao Ran shook his head then. He looked at Qin Chu guiltily and said, Wasiqian, the tracker's there, but the person is not there. I think Wasiqian found something on Huamin's body and threw it away. When our people went there, they found a steep mountain stream. The forest was so dense that no one could step on it. After scanning it with a scanner, we found no signs of human activity. Basically, we can conclude that the tracker was thrown down by someone. Fuck. Tang Chuan cursed unhappily. Qin Chu seemed to have expected this result, so when he heard this, he was exceptionally quiet and didn't say anything. Su Yu was clearly agitated. He kicked over the table in front of him. The teacups shattered all over the floor. Fuck, we must cut that psychopath into pieces this time. Su Yu cursed angrily. Now's not the time to be angry. We need to think about what to do next. Wei Liao calmly analyzed. Gao Ren walked over and said to Qin Chu, Chu, although we didn't find him, it's not all bad news. We found something there that proves that they passed by there. There are very few roads in the southern mountain range. As long as we follow the path, we will find something. Gao Ran comforted Qin Chu. Just then, Qin Chu's phone rang. He looked at it and slowly picked it up. Chapter 2939. Okay, I got it. Bring him in. After hanging up, Su Yu immediately asked, Do you have any leads? Wasiqian's man and Aching is my spy. Let's see if we can get any valuable information. Qin Chu didn't seem to have much confidence. This time, Wasiqian took someone from his house in broad daylight, right under his nose, and Zhang Manlin was replaced. This was a huge blow to Qin Chu. So compared to others, no one could understand Qin Chu's feelings at this moment. Aching's arm was wrapped in white gauze as he was brought in. President Qin. He seemed very apologetic. Are you okay? Qin Chu glanced at Aching's arm. I'm fine. It's just a minor injury. The child has been transferred to a safe place. Someone is watching over her. Don't worry. I know. Thank you, President Qin. I really didn't know Wasiqian already knew my identity. That's why I didn't inform you in time. I heard. Miss Hua. Aching was truly apologetic. It's okay. It's not your fault. He arranged for me to pick up the goods at the last minute. I thought he was going to do it after he got the goods. I didn't expect it to be a trap. A trap to distract me and distract you. This is very much like Wasiqian's style. I was careless, Qin Chu said faintly. Weizi sent people to stop me. It was Wasiqian's idea. It seems he wanted to kill me. Fortunately, your people arrived in time. Aching looked at Qin Chu gratefully. Aching, think about it. My wife is in Wasiqian's hands. Where would he take her? Qin Chu placed his last hope on Wasiqian's former confidant, Aching. Could it be Glendale Island? What island? Gao Ran didn't hear clearly, so he asked again. Actually, I don't know where the island is either. I only know that. Boss, no. Wasiqian bought a small island many years ago. He said that one day he would move there and live in seclusion. All these years, he has hired people to take care of the island. He even goes there once every 2 years. I'm guessing that's where he plans to take Miss Hua to. Aching said, You don't even know where the island is, and you're telling us a name that we've never even heard of. How are we supposed to find it? Tang Chuan complained. Su Yu took out his electronic device and opened the HD satellite map. He keyed in the island that Aching had just mentioned, but he found nothing in either Chinese or English. Are you sure that's the name? No, Su Yu said. I don't know if this is the name of the island or if Wasiqian came up with it himself, so I don't dare to jump to conclusions. Aching said. Fuck, isn't that a waste of time? Tang Chuan slammed his phone on the coffee table, his face full of anger. You can't blame him. There are a lot of places and islands in the world that don't have names. They aren't even marked on the map. It's not surprising that Wasiqian would do something weird. I'm just curious. No matter which island it is, he has to leave first. The entire city is sealed off. Planes, ships, trains, and cars can't leave. How is Huasichen going to leave with Huamin? Wei Liao asked cleverly. Oh, right, I know a place that they might go to. Aching suddenly thought of something and said excitedly. Chapter 2940. Where? Suyu was extremely anxious. He wanted nothing more than to dig out all the information he needed from Aching's mouth. It's a cliff near Yuewang Mountain. A cliff. Gao Ran frowned slightly. That doesn't make sense. Shouldn't Huasichen be taking sister-in-law out of the country at this time? Why would he go to a cliff? Tang Chuan also felt that something was wrong. However, Qin Chu was very concerned about this piece of information. Gao Ran, go check right now. If we go to Yuewang Mountain, will we pass by the mountain stream where the tracker fell? Qin Chu asked. Gao Ran nodded. He picked up the GPS map and searched. He immediately nodded excitedly at Qin Chu. It's true. This road goes all the way south and passes through 15 or 16 tunnels. Then, we'll arrive at Yuewang Mountain after more than 30 miles of winding mountain roads. However, because of the steep terrain, no one has developed the mountain in recent years. It's dangerous everywhere. Normal people rarely go there. Even the mountain people don't go there easily. There are many wild animals there. Why would Huasichen, that pervert, go there? Gao Ran asked a series of questions. Then, everyone looked at Aching. Aching looked at Qin Chu innocently. President Qin, I'm telling the truth. I know. Qin Chu replied calmly. Then why would Huasichen go to Yuewang Mountain? Picking mushrooms? Digging for wild vegetables? Tang Chuan obviously didn't believe him. His tone was full of sarcasm. I don't know, but he does go there. He doesn't bring anyone with him every time. He drives a jeep by himself. He goes there in the morning and comes back at night. Someone asked him before, and he only said that he would be bored if he stayed in the city for too long. He went out to get some fresh air, see the scenery, and relieve stress. But I feel that with my understanding of Boss, it's not as simple as just seeing the scenery. Aching explained seriously to everyone. That's possible. After all, Huasichen likes to do things unexpectedly. So, Aching is probably right. Wei Liao analyzed rationally. Gao Ran, set the coordinates of Yuewang Mountain. We're leaving now. Huh, we're really going? Won't we miss nothing? Tang Chuan felt that it was impossible for them to go there. We'll go even if we don't get anything. This time, Suyu miraculously took Qin Chu's side. Okay, let's go. Then, Qin Chu immediately asked the company to prepare 5 jeeps. The 5 men each took one and headed towards Yuewang Mountain. In order to save time, they used a helicopter to send the 5 of them there. The jeeps were also transported by air. It was very impressive. Gao Ran contacted the Public Security Bureau near Yuewang Mountain. They also sent a lot of police cars and people to follow behind Qin Chu and the others. The road up the mountain was very difficult. Even the best car couldn't go fast. Qin Chu and the others went up the mountain. Gao Ran used a map to locate Huasichen's location. At this moment, Huamin slowly woke up in Huasichen's car. Little sister Mian, you're finally awake. Huasichen looked at Huamin gently. The moment she saw Huasichen, Huamin's eyes became sharp. Why are you here? Wrong. You should be asking, why are you in my car? Huasichen chuckled. Huamin finally realized that she was in a black Mercedes-Benz in the middle of nowhere. Huamin remembered that she was very sleepy and was sleeping at home. She didn't remember anything else. She tried to remember, but she couldn't remember how Huasichen kidnapped her. Chapter 2941. Do you have any recollection of it? Huasichen asked. I remember. I was sleeping at home, and you came to my house to kidnap me. Where's my daughter? Where's my husband? What did you do to them? Huamin's eyes widened as he glared at Huasichen. Don't worry. I'm not interested in your children or your husband. They're fine. I only took you away. What do you want? Huamin frowned as he slowly got up, feeling weak all over. Don't move, my little sister. You haven't fully recovered yet. What did you do to me? Huamin was shocked. He wondered if Wasichien had drugged him. He was pregnant with his second child, and any drug would affect the baby. Therefore, Huamin subconsciously rubbed his belly. Don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to you. I just found a wizard in Thailand and put a sleeping spell on you. You only slept for 3 to 5 hours. How is it? Did you sleep well? Did you have any dreams? You're a pervert. Huamin stared at Wasichien with mixed feelings. Wasichien's thoughts weren't something that ordinary people could understand if he was willing to do something like finding a wizard. Okay, don't be in such a hurry to scold me. Come, let me show you something. After speaking, Wasichien reached out his hand and helped Huamin up. Huamin wanted to push him away, but he didn't have the strength to do so. After Huamin got out of the car, he looked around, and his eyes darkened. It's beautiful here, isn't it? Wasichien asked softly. Huamin shook off Wasichien's hand with all his might. He hated having skin contact with him. Huamin looked at where he was. He was at the top of a very high mountain. It felt like this place was a cliff, and below it was the sea, because the sound of the sea could be heard clearly. It was nighttime. Logically speaking, it should be very dark. However, Wasichien had ordered people to make many-colored lights and hang them on the Christmas tree. Then, at the edge of the cliff, there was an arch made of white gauze, covered with green grass and white flowers. How did it look like a dark mountaintop? It was more like a lawn wedding. Nobody knew how long such a huge project would take, or how many people would be needed to complete it. Wasichien didn't answer Huamin's question. She had to admit that this place was very, very beautiful. But so what? In the face of someone she hated, no matter how beautiful the scenery was, she was not in the mood to appreciate it. Under the arched door, there was a rectangular dining table with a white tablecloth on it. There were chairs at both ends, and in the middle were 2 goblets and a bottle of red wine. Are you hungry after sleeping for so long? Let's have something to eat. Wasichien pointed at the dining table and invited Huamin with a smile. I'm not eating. I didn't poison it, Wasichien said half-jokingly. I'm not in the mood to eat with someone I hate. Huamin gritted her teeth. She didn't give Wasichien any face. But if you don't eat, you can't run away just standing here. Why don't you sit down and enjoy the scenery at the top of the mountain? Wasichien finished speaking and looked into the distance. What do you want in order to let me go? Tell me what you want. Huamin thought that Wasichien was holding her hostage because he wanted something to threaten Chin-Chu. But this time, it seemed that she was wrong. Wasichien stood in front of the dining table and slowly picked up the goblet. Looking at the sparkling red wine inside, he said, You asked me what I want. Fine, I'll tell you now. I only want Huamin. Chapter 2942. Upon hearing this, Huamin immediately understood what Wasichien meant. It seemed like he was serious this time. If you drag me up here, my husband won't let you off the hook. Chin-Chu, I've never been afraid of him. Wasichien smiled playfully. Wasichien, do you think it's fun to force people like this? Haven't you heard that a forced melon won't be sweet? I don't care if it's sweet or not. As long as it's sweet, I'll be happy. Wasichien replied proudly. Huamin. Upon hearing this answer, Huamin's heart raced with 10,000 alpacas. Ha! I'm just kidding. You actually believed me. But you're so cute when you're angry. Wasichien didn't like to see Huamin's usually calm face. He liked to see Huamin's expression, even if it was anger or anger. This way, he could make his presence known and not be easily ignored by Huamin. Come on, Mian. Let's change into a set of clothes first. After speaking, Wasichien turned around and walked into the trunk of the car. He took out a white wedding dress and placed it on the back seat. Go change into it. No way. Huamin was stubborn. Then I'll have to change for you myself. Don't say I took advantage of you. Wasichien smiled as he walked closer to her. Don't come over. Huamin was so scared that she retreated. She was in an awkward situation right now. When Wasichien brought her out, she was wearing a nightgown. Although it wasn't very revealing, it was still very cold in a nightgown in the middle of the night. So, do you want to change yourself, or do you want me to help you? Wasichien pressed on. Wasichin, don't touch me. If you come any closer, I'll jump down. Wamin pointed at the cliff behind him. He couldn't see how high it was, but if he jumped down, it would be impossible for him to survive. After all, it was the sea below, and a wave would roll dozens of meters away. You won't. Wasichin smiled. I will. Don't provoke me. I'm not afraid of death. Wamin was furious. I know you're not afraid of death, but you're afraid that you won't be able to see your husband and daughter. Think about your cute twins. They call you mommy again and again. How could you let them lose their mother? Wasichin was indeed an expert in psychological warfare. Wamin's weakness was her husband and children. Wamin's heart softened at the thought of the twins calling her mommy so sweetly. So, Mian, don't fight with me. I promise I won't hurt you. You've already hurt me, asshole. Wamin cursed at Wasichin with tears in his eyes. No, trust me. I'm the one who can't bear to hurt you the most in the world. Plus, if anyone hurts you, they'll all die. Song Yisher and Mo Shui, Zhang Manlin, and Hui Yanyan. Wasichin said with utmost seriousness. You're wrong. The pain they've caused me is far less than 1/10 of the pain you've caused me. Wasichin, don't you understand? You're the one who hurt me the most. All this time, you've done everything you can to ruin my relationship with Qin Chu. You broke up our family and caused me to be separated from him for 4 years when I was pregnant. It's all because of you. So, as the one who hurt me the most, shouldn't you explode on the spot? Mian asked viciously. Upon hearing this, Wasichin was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Wamin to have such thoughts. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.